Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is Cee, Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 116 of Beer and Other Shit, the podcast Adjunct series. This evening, we finally have the top 10 breweries in Ontario for 2022. It's going to be a great episode, but of course, guys, before I get to it, you already know tonight's episode is brought to you by Manscaped, of course. Now, Happy New Year from our friends at Manscaped. The ball has officially dropped, but that doesn't mean you have to drop the ball on your balls in 2023. Whether you had a New Year's kiss or not, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming have you covered for your much-needed resolution of bringing sexy back. Join the 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. So you just go to manscaped.com and use the code BAOS for 20% off plus free shipping. What a deal. Let us have a toast for the new year, a new you, and a new you with no pubes. That goes for you, young man Nathaniel. Now, I've been rocking this stuff for, I want to say, it's well over a year now. Big fan of all of these products. Some of these are new to me. It's a new year, new balls with the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming. This year, take your package to the next level with their Performance Package 4.0 and other premium wet goods. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the signature Lawnmower 4.0. You know the vibes. The advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts and nicks on your delicate parts. I can say that for a fact. It also comes equipped with a 4000K light, that little bad boy there. Spotlight that will shine a light to the promised land 2023 looks to be. Facts. A grooming routine isn't complete without applying Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver. Look at these bad boys. Before showing off your 2023 self. These unique formulations take care of the smallest part of your body for some and are a big boost to your confidence into the new year. To complete the set, Manscaped threw in their Shed travel bag. Caught here. Love this guy. Super convenient as hell. And anti-chafing boxer briefs that are still in the plastic, but trust me, I've been wearing those other ones for the last year, loving them. Where are we? I always lose it when I look up. As free gifts to keep your goodies stored comfortably. If you really want to make 2023 the year to remember, make sure to try out Manscaped's wet goods as well. That includes their Ultra Premium Body Wash, that's the 2-in-1 shampoo, and body deodorant, which is this beautiful boy right here. These products are the absolute perfect follow-up to your New Year's gym sessions. Cheers to new balls in 2023. Get 20% off, guys, on free shipping at manscaped.com with the code BAOS. So 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. The code is BAOS. Right here. It's right here. You see it. Time to feel sexy and free this 2023 with Manscaped. And with that, I'm going to bring in my guest. Guys, I'm excited for this. Top 10 beers in Ontario for 2022 would not go down without the gorgeous, the glorious, the handsomest Nathan from NathanDoesBeer in the building. What up, beautiful?
How you doing, man?
Mate, shaved, trimmed, excited. Too much info?
You said you were wearing those boxers for the past year. I hope you washed them once or twice.
No. You don't need to. All you do is keep applying this deodorant, and you're good to go. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
So, Nate, this is our second year running for the 2022, for the top 10 breweries of Ontario. This is for 2022. Nice. We are recording it in early January. Just like we did last year, we felt that I kept knocking you. We felt that like we do the Quebec one obviously with Noah and Matt, and that one we always do in around mid-December. But you and I like to wait right to the end of the year because sometimes there's a banger dropped. Literally last year there was a banger dropped on New Year's Eve. So, you never know what can come.
That's right.
So, this is great. So I was telling you as well, like someone commented asking on the Quebec one, asking when the Ontario one's coming. So I'm glad that there's a bit of an appetite for these episodes. It's something that I personally look forward to, and I imagine you do as well.
I do indeed, yeah. No, I was looking forward to this one. Like last year's was a lot of fun, and I know you guys have been doing the Quebec one for a few years now. So I'm glad we're making this an annual thing, and I'm glad the folks are looking forward to it.
Hell yeah, man! And what a year it's been, eh? I feel like 2022 was a phenomenal year. I will say from the beginning that when we made this list of the top 10, we got about 2/3 of the way through maybe, and then we were kind of stuck. So 2/3 of it we thought were pretty easy. We had a bunch of real ones to highlight, and then the other half was difficult because there was so many. There was more than the first two
Yeah.
thirds on the additional list, and they all were deserving of being added. So I think that's a great sign, eh, for Ontario beer.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a good sign. Um, and we deliberately wanted to be a bit more targeted about it this
Mm,
year because like you and I were talking about this and we had a long list of honorable mentions last year, and we wanted to be like a bit more targeted this year to not have quite as long a list of honorable mentions because it's kind of hard to whittle it down.
mm.
But you know, we want to like really give the top 10 their due respect, and so. Can I explain what we're doing with the honorable mentions this time?
Please do.
Okay, yeah. So we picked a shorter list of 5 honorable mentions, which we're going to throughout the top 10 list with a specific category of why they're making it into the honorable mentions. So as you were saying, it was tough to whittle the list down because there's so much great beer in Ontario right now, and
Mm-hmm.
so many deserving breweries. But we really did our best to trim the list down this time.
Yes, it truly, truly wasn't easy. Um, yeah, and I feel like the year before, I re- I mean, I don't know. You have a much better memory than I. I feel like it wasn't easy then either, but maybe it was a little easier. I think there was more competition this year. More breweries stepped up with innovation, with quality, um, great branding. There's some fantastic new breweries that dropped last year. I'm sorry, 2022. It's I think it's a fantastic time to be a craft beer drinker and fan and supporter in the glorious province of Ontario. And I'm very stoked to be living here now and have very ready access to some of the best beers, not just in the province or the country, but arguably globally.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, there's certainly a case to be made um, for at least one of those, which is something we'll discuss a little later on.
Yep, absolutely.
And yeah, you talk about how you've now moved to Ontario. It's kind of interesting that when you were in Montreal, you and I were only about a 2 hour drive away from each other. Now you're in Hamilton, we're more like a 5.5, 6 hour drive away from each other, and yet we've seen each other more often this past year, than we have in the last 4 or 5 years, I think.
In the last 5 months since I've been here, I think we've hung out
Yeah,
3 times I can think of. I think three. Yeah, which
that's
is
right.
crazy. And it's weird, but it is very convenient that you grew up a close distance from here, so you're in the area relatively regularly, and we've been able to keep each other. You've been bringing me the Quebec gems, and whether you're coming or your folks are able to do it, which is something that I'm super grateful for, rather than shipping it constantly. So it's I've been able to get you some stuff that you can't as easily get there. So we've been able to you and I have drank a lot of the similar stuff actually in the last 5 months than arguably ever before. Um,
That's right.
which is good. So I feel like that's why this is perfect for us doing this this year, because before I was like I'd get whenever I went to Ontario regularly, so I'd always come back with stuff. And this year, prior to moving here, because I was coming here so often, whether it was to look at houses or to suss out the area or whatever it was, I came a bunch from the beginning of the year. So I was getting a lot of these beers that ended up making the list, or essentially the vast majority of the year. So I feel like I got a real solid handle on it, rather than being in Quebec where I'm, getting it piece by piece type of thing. Um, so as far as before we just get into the first honorable mention, we're going to start off with an honorable mention. Um, do we? Was there any like maybe trends we wanted to acknowledge, or something, anything that we saw in Ontario beer in 2022 that maybe dominated the year, or that really went well, or otherwise?
Yeah, one thing that I think I can say is hype breweries in Ontario, and like we'll get into specifics of this a little bit later. But I've been finding that the refinement of hazy beers has never been better in Ontario. it's like the quality is just getting really, really dialed in. And like it's like the body of single IPAs is getting turned up a little bit. The body of double IPAs is lightening up. Carbonation is getting better. Like body is getting like more ideal. It used like I think a couple of years ago, even with like a couple of the ones that we're going to mention, the haze was good, but it often came off thick and creamy and kind of under attenuation was a pretty common thing. But I feel like this past year, the quality has been really dialed up, like especially with a few of the brews we're going to mention. That's one thing in particular I noticed this year.
Great call out. Could not agree more. I feel like it's like, okay, I've been doing a bunch of trades this year. Funnily enough, with a friend in Montreal who I used to trade with even there, and he'd been getting me a bunch of stuff from the States. From Cali, I did a trade with a friend in Detroit, so I got a bunch of Michigan stuff. And the breweries that you're referring to and the body of what we have over here, like I would have a monkish after having some of these ones, and it wasn't as good. Granted, they're not, a week old. They're maybe like a month or two old, but I've heard wonderful things about the breweries that they're like, oh no, they last a long time. It just wasn't as good. I just like it's truly world class stuff we have here, and I'm extremely proud to trade with anybody to be like, oh, trust me, you're gonna lose your fucking mind when you try this stuff. I got my boy in Detroit. I took him out to two of my boys in Detroit. I'm sorry, I took them out to two of the breweries on this list, and they're obsessed with them now. It's it's very cool to see, man. So yeah, that was a great trend. Another thing I noticed was the sort of a prevalence of non-alcoholic products, specifically non-alcoholic beers from Ontario. So I feel like the low ABV trend didn't really pick up here as much as it did in Quebec. Quebec, they've been on it for like 5 years. I remember doing a pod in 2018 at a dépanneur, and they gave everything we had was under 5%, starting at like 2 or whatever it was. And I always thought it was ridiculous, but they were just ahead of the game with the low ABV stuff. Ontario now with the alcoholic beers, there's been some great ones coming out of Bellwoods, who did a whole bunch of research, like public research, doing versions and dropping that. Very impressed with what they've come up with. And Collective Arts did some fantastic stuff as well. We went by.
I don't think I've ever seen this many non-alcoholic options available from Ontario craft breweries. Like I think last year during dry January, you could probably count on one hand the number of breweries in the province that were doing it. Now there's a ton. You already mentioned, like Bellwoods has a bunch in in a few different styles. Like you said, Collective Arts. Dominion City has, of course, been doing City Seltzer for a few years now. Left Field now also has a non-alcoholic seltzer brand out as well.
Cool.
I saw Great Lakes put out a hop water. Wellington has of course been doing their hop waters for a while. Spearhead's got their aqua. Like there's tons out there right now.
Wow, I didn't even think about all of those. That's amazing. Like it's really good time. And the first 3, like I've got a case of City Seltzer arrived today. I got the case from Bellwoods where they got the non-alcoholic Jelly Kings and the Stay Classy plus the sparkly waters. I got the case of that, and then there was and Libra they're outside of Ontario, but they're available here. They're from PEI, but them plus there's one more, and then Collective. We went by the other day and they did 3 beers. They did a bunch of mocktails as well as like flavored waters and stuff. It's just like something. I think people are becoming more health conscious here, and they're realizing that we can't keep drinking 6 double IPAs every day and expect to keep that waistline trim and feel healthy and stuff. So I feel like there's a big focus on that, and I think that's a real positive thing. If people haven't read Nate's article on Dry January, which is something that keeps coming up every year, and I think it's one of the most viewed articles on the website, so BAOSpodcast.com. If you want, you can go to NathanDoesBeer.com and check that out, because that's all of his pieces there. Might be the easiest way to find it. Definitely read that and take that in, but I really feel like that was like 2 years ago now. So I feel like you were a bit ahead of the game thinking about that, and seeing it manifest here, I think, is a real positive thing. It's a great step forward for the beer scene.
Absolutely, yeah. And it definitely seems like breweries are recognizing that that the consumers want to have these options and to still be able to support their local breweries and whatnot. So to give them the products to do that with, it just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, with that, I'm not sure if there was any other things you want to call out to begin with that you noticed, or would you like to just get down and dirty and into it? Pause.
No, I think that's a good start. I think it's probably time to get through our list here.
Alrighty. Would you? Do you
We
know what?
should.
Maybe should we crack the
So
beer?
we should.
No, it'll give it away.
Let's hold up on the on cracking the beer just yet. But
Okay.
something that we should specify
Yes.
is that so for the top 10, they are in no particular order. It's not ranked. So these are just kind of all on equal footing top 10, with the one exception that we are going to name a best brewery in Ontario of 2022. But everything else is equivalent top 10. And as we already said, we're going to intersperse some honorable mentions in addition to the top 10 as we go along.
Yes, and also to note, we did not do a brewery of the year last year. For our first time doing this, and in Quebec, the Quebec one last year was the first time we did a brewery of the year, and then this year we did it again. And because I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, in 2021 we didn't feel like there was an overall like this brewery changed the game type of thing, whereas this year it was pretty tight. There was a couple in the running for this, arguably a few. Sorry if I want to be correct. But we felt that the brewery that we decided on as the brewery of the year truly deserved it. And it was like almost like, I was about to say obvious that we had to do it. I feel like we had to do it. We would like to continue doing it because it's a bit of fun. Not that we're trying to rank anyone or make it a competition, but this is just a retrospective, looking back and kind of giving the flowers, giving props where it's due, and it's kind of fun to have a brewery of the year, I think. But once again, it's all subjective. I really want to, on the final, I know we keep doing notes. The final note was that, because people like, but what about this? But what about? I'm like, if we don't drink them a lot, then we can't include them. So like, if we know that X brewery is, we've had beers from them before. We know they're renowned for being great at what they do. But if we didn't drink much of them, we can't in good faith like put them on the list, because how do we know? Like, this is from our personal experience, and fortunately I guess for us that we have pretty similar tastes for the most part, so we drink a lot of the same stuff, so that we're exposed to a lot of the same things. But I'm trying maybe some things you're not, vice versa. So if people are like, but what about, it doesn't mean they're not amazing. It just means that it didn't really cross our paths that much. That's really all
exactly.
It is. And that can obviously, with however many, what is it, 250 breweries I think in Ontario, like, or is it 450? Whatever it is, it's not a small number.
Yeah.
It's impossible to try everything, and we do our best to keep abreast of what's going on. But that will be why, for those, before you go and say what about, that is why. And if there is a what about, you should go and check these guys out. Always down for any recommendations that people are passionate about. So, with that said, Mr. NathanDoesBeer, shall we get to the first honorable mention? Like that? That was good, huh? The first honorable mention. The first honorable mention, maybe because you're going to kick off the top 10, maybe I'll do the first honorable mention. So
go for it.
The first one is a brewery that is near and dear to my heart. If you'll be able to see some of their beers, or one of their beers just to my left here. They're an honorable mention for being the best widely accessible brewery in Ontario. We are talking about Sawdust City. Such a fantastic brewery. Funnily enough, I was on a call with them today. Sam is a champion. I've been extraordinarily impressed with everything that they've been doing. I think they absolutely nailed their haze. It is just disgusting what they've done with that, with the body, with the even from Get It In Ya, which is our collab we did in 2018. This is 5 years this month. No, next month, February. We brewed it in January. This compared to what they're doing now is leagues. Like, this was great, but they just nailed that. Their barrel program is phenomenal for their specialty stuff. So I'm talking about the specialty stuff. But if you go to any LCBO, you can get Lone Pine, Golden Beach, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually the alt
Little
beer
Norway.
Yep, Little Norway, the pale, like the whatever, like kind of like a lager, pale lager. You probably know more than me because I don't frequent LCBOs as much as I should.
Yeah, I don't frequent the LCBOs very much either, to be
Okay.
honest. But like those are the big ones for sure. And yeah, like you mentioned their haze, which we've talked about before. Where they really turned the game around with their haze was when Everyday Magic came out. That was a huge step up from the previous haze that they've had. But before that, like they had the West Coast game in Ontario on lock with Lone Pine has always been a fantastic West Coast IPA. We talked about that when we did our West Coast episode a little while back,
Mm-hmm.
and it's and like we were saying, best widely accessible brewery like in Ontario because they are ones that you can find in any LCBO and like beer stores in the province, and so extremely accessible no matter where you are in the province, and just absolute A1 beer like across the style spectrum. They've got something for everyone.
Couldn't agree more. So definitely well deserved sawdust. So Tario top 10. I'm gonna grab the beer so we can show it at the same time.
Yes,
Do you have it there?
that's right.
Oh, you do.
I do.
Beautiful.
I do have it here, ready to go.
All right. I'll let you
And
do
I'm
the
excited.
honors.
I'm excited for it because I'm parched and it's just been teasing me here this whole time
Staring at it.
we've been doing the intro. Yes. So first up on the Ontario top 10, this is one that was on there that was on our list last year and much deservedly so. It's on the list again. So let's show it from
Boom.
Toronto. Godspeed Brewery.
Oh, look at proper. There you go. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Big claps. Could not do
Yeah,
a top 10
so,
without Godspeed.
No,
There's no way.
absolutely not. And anyone listening who's had anything from Godspeed, I'm sure they wouldn't argue. BIM is easily one of the best brewers in the province, and they're making probably the best, easily the best lagers in the province. You could probably even say in the country. And I don't think anyone would argue with you. They had something very, very special happen in 2022 as well, and
Yes.
that is related to the beer that we are drinking tonight because they did a massive collaboration with Czechvar, one of the classic breweries out of the Czech Republic, and this Boo or Buh, I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
Yeah, no.
But
I thought it was Bah.
but that was this was kind of their tribute to Czechvar that they initially brewed, and then when they did this collaboration with Czechvar, they did a special edition of it, which is what we're having right now. And I'm this is the first time I'm tasting it, so I'm very excited to try it.
Oh, I'm excited for you. I made sure that I was so amped for this. I mean, Godspeed are just spectacular. This beer I was very, very excited about. Their Czech Gods. So let's take a sip. Sorry. Cheers, brother. Get that in you.
Yeah, let's do it. Cheers.
Oh, good Lord. It's just special. So, they did the old the Czech government thing where they went to the Czech Republic and, they were one of the brewers that did that. They've been really, really dialing in their Czech beers and doing them authentically with the triple decoction and the floor malted barley and all that stuff. The Luca taps in there. I went there for my birthday in 2022. I'm sorry, and I just drank Luca pours all night. It was just glorious, and this was super cool because I don't know if any Canadian brewery has done a collab with a Czech brewery like this, particularly a legendary one, on a style that's, they just helped them tweak this recipe. And it's just, no other word for it. It's special, man. Like, everything they do is spectacular. Like, I got a bunch. I never get more than, like, one or two. Usually one, maybe two of anything. I got, like, a 6 of these because I knew I needed these in my life and it was going to be special. And it did not let me down at all. It's, they're just so consistent. So, BIM is so serious about the style So when you're that passionate,
Yeah.
I think a style like this, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Like, yeah, I think you have to be truly passionate, and the other breweries who are brilliant at this, some of them will be mentioned in this spot as well. Um, they also share that passion, and I think it's just that's what this is. Like when you're making this style of beer, it's super difficult, it's super intricate, it's hundreds of years of tradition, and to try and replicate that over here with try and match the water profile and get the proper Czech grown SARS, which I believe is in shortage right now. The barley done the same way, the triple decoction, which I always forget what it is. People told me like 7 times, but I keep forgetting. It's truly special. For them to be able to do this and pump it out of this quality is just mind blowing, man. And can't say enough about them.
Absolutely. There are very few brewers who could who can brew lagers this clean, like this crisp, this well. It's a very special talent that that few brewers have, and we're very lucky to have this to have this available to us in Ontario. Not just the lagers, of course, but like there's so many other styles that they do really well. Also, like no one else does smoked beers quite like them. And in fact, I think it was even just today that I saw, or maybe it was yesterday, that they've got a smoked beer fest coming up in a couple of weeks. And normally, from anyone else, I'd kind of be turning my nose up at that
Yeah.
because smoked, like we've talked about this before, but smoked beers aren't really our jam.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a special thing when it comes from Godspeed, though, because it's so subtle and so delicate
It's
that
the yeah.
if you've ever been turned off of a Rausch beer or whatnot before, like all you got to do is try Godspeed's smoked porter, and it might just change your mind.
Couldn't agree more. It's the only smoked beers I enjoy, and I will proactively search out. It's so subtle, and it's not the bacon campfire that is the element that you and I typically don't enjoy from them. It's once again it's exquisite. Excuse me, big burps. It's refined. It's complex. It's like thoughtful. The use
Yeah.
of the smoked malt. It's just I've never had anything like it, and I just really think Godspeed's a special brewery, man. I love what Bim's doing. I think he's a great dude, um, and once again this dedication to this style, it's so needed, and I would probably credit Godspeed to turning me on to Crispy Boys primarily. I would probably say it. I can't
Yeah.
remember when it happened, but I would have to give them the vast majority of the credit because every time, fortunately, my brother lives right near them, so every time I come to Toronto, I'd always, even if I wasn't seeing my brother, I would go out of my way to go to Godspeed every trip, and grab usually like 12 beers typically to bring back. I would get more usually, but I usually have too much other stuff. Um, it's just as you can, it's like such, and I love they're in the small cans too. They're just such crushes, but imagine having a crusher at this level of quality. Like, sorry, this level of quality. It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it's bonkers, bro. Like, they're such an important part of the scene here. I'm just
Yeah.
very happy.
It is it would not be exaggerating to say they're world class.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, how do you feel about this beer, by the way? So this is a special edition of the bar or whatever. There's another version which is whatever their original kind of recipe that they came up with, and this is the 4.6% version that was essentially, I don't know if you said it before, like tweaked by the brewmaster Adam Broz, Broz. Probably not how you pronounce it because the Czech letters. Um, and help them tweak it. But yeah, what do you think? Being a Godspeed fanatic as I am, thoughts?
It's spectacular. Like I was saying, I was pretty parched before I cracked this open, and I'm finding it hard to slow down with it. I'm
Yep.
plowing through it, and I'm it's so dry that like I keep on wanting to just keep on taking more sips of it. It's so good. Yeah, like it's really dry. It's super crisp, um, and it's got such like a robust malt bill, but it's not but it's not sitting too heavy or grainy or anything like that. It's just really nice and clean.
Well said. Yeah, man. I'm already halfway done. And I know we did start. We were yapping for a bit beforehand with getting set up, and then we were talking for a bit in the intro. So we've been talking for a while and not been bloody drinking. And this is my first beer of the night. I imagine yours too. So
It
it's
is, yeah.
yeah, um, yeah, man. It's just we like cannot say enough. I don't foresee a top 10 uh, breweries in Ontario list without Godspeed on them on BAOS
Yeah.
in the foreseeable future at all.
This would be one of the ones justifiably so that if we didn't have it on the list, like people would be like, guys, like what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, and that would be deserved. Yeah, there's just no
Yeah,
way.
it would.
As long as they keep this up, and I feel like they're not only keeping this up, they're like innovating, for lack of a better word. Like they're innovating, meaning they're getting deeper into the Czech stuff and tweaking these recipes and trying different things. And they knocked out barley wines. They've done a seltzer that was great, like a green tea lemon seltzer, I believe. Um, they do like some killer West Coast style, Vermont style IPAs they do here and there. They just did that barley wine. They canned it, which I've had before, and
Yeah.
I liked it before. I liked that one before I even got back into barley wines. Um, it's just, yeah, man. I feel like they can do. They've got their sort of thing that they do, and they lean into it, and that's what they do, and they do it on a world class level. So
Yeah.
Godspeed, well deserved, freaking legends.
There we go.
Alrighty. Next up,
Next
we're only drinking. By the way, we're drinking 5 of the 10 beers. So we're just, we'd obviously be sloshed if we would drink them all. So we tried to pair up so we had the same ones. I guess that was something else we did say. So the next brewery, another big fave of mine. I was introduced to them maybe through you. Actually, you got me my first beers from these.
I think so. Yeah.
All of them for a while. Now I think of it.
That's right.
We had them on the pod last year, so we really got to hear the story and learn more about them, and I was absolutely blown away by the quality of the beers that we were drinking on the pod and everything since then. The next brewery, top 10 brewery in Ontario, Willowbold, what is it? Farm, Distillery, and Brewery. Well done. I have one of their cans here. Willowbold actually participated in Link Up this year. In this last series, they did a fruited goza, which was spectacular. They were absolute pleasure to work with. Cam is such a G. Joe is a gentleman as well. He's a fellow Hamiltonian. I just love everything about Willowbold, man. So when you how did you discover them? Because I guess you put me onto them, or multiple people told me about them. Will from Rosewood, funnily enough, told me because they do the distillery side.
Right.
And I heard their name like 4 times, maybe, including from you, and then you were able to get some, and very, very impressed with what I had. I'd love to hear how you got onto them.
Yeah. Because I first came upon them like in 2020. Which might have been the first year they opened, if not, it might have been in early 2020, if not late 2019, but
Okay.
it would have been pretty shortly afterwards. But I discovered them while in lockdown. Um, the I believe the first 2 beers that I was able to get my hands on through the Dominion City store here was was their Hellas and a big 9% imperial stout called Limbo. Those were the first 2 that I tasted from them, and they can knock out a dynamite lager. I'll tell you that for free. Because their Hellas is really good, and and Limbo was that one was a shocker because it's it's a 9% stout, and you don't there's not a whole ton of breweries that do just a straight up imperial stout. Either it's a milk stout or it's got a bunch of adjuncts or it's barrel aged or whatnot. But a straight up imperial oatmeal stout, you don't see too many of them, and you especially weren't seeing many of them back in 2020. But just a nice kind of a thick warming, really chocolatey, but without chocolate added. Bitter dark chocolate, bitter coffee, just kind of getting all of that from from the base ingredients was something super special. So definitely knew it was onto something there. They were also one of the first Ontario breweries that I came across that did the all together collab,
Other half. Yep, yep.
from other half. Yeah. So that was my introduction to them, and of course had a bunch more since that I shared with you. Their haze was great and continues to get better. They're definitely up there in Ontario
Oh yeah.
on haze, but they've got a pretty varied style list. Like you would I wouldn't put them listed as like a hype brewery that's doing 95% haze. They're they do a pretty good mix of styles across the board that they knock out pretty well.
They definitely do. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I know you got me one of their West Coasts, and I think you might have got me one of their milkshakes because they were one of the few breweries doing milkshakes at a high level.
Yeah.
And that was very impressive. But yeah, I kind of in my head, I have them in the hype category because they're haze. Like, for people who don't know, I would highly recommend you guys go and listen to the pod that Nate and I did with Cam and Joe. It must have been like April-ish in 2022. Something like that. A little earlier, maybe. Actually, maybe it was March because of I know when
it would have been March because it was before my son was born.
Okay, so Joe used to work at Monkish and McKellar, so he has high level training with this type of stuff. And during that pod, we had their export lager. It was a 6% lager, and you mentioned before how good their Krispies were, and it was spectacular. It is very difficult to make a 6% lager not taste 6%. Spectacular. We had their I think it was their Tim Hortons, like a milk stout.
Yep.
There was another one that I forget. Maybe you remember because you're so much better than me with memory.
There was definitely another IPA, which is slipping my mind at the moment. And then I know we finished with where the fuck is air, which is the triple.
Yes,
it's
that was
slipping my
just
mind
amazing.
what the other IPA was.
We'd have to go and look back. I'm sure it won't take long. But either way, I was just so impressed with them on that triple IPA was glorious. And I'm not a triple fan.
Yeah.
And it was just so well done. Fortunately, Durand here in Hamilton, which is something else I discovered this year properly with their bottle shop. Sorry, last year. And I bought one of their beers today. They dropped a single IPA. I forgot what it was called, but I saw that and I was like, yes, please. And I feel like they do more doubles than singles, or I don't get as many doubles personally. But yeah, man, I just feel like everything they do is just great. Like, they do a mix of the short cans, tall cans. I've never tried them, but they've got this crazy line of seltzers that are insanely popular. And they're in like a Red Bull can, like the Bullet type of thing. Really cool artwork, super interesting flavors. Of course, then they got the distillery side. They're making really interesting gins and rums and vodkas and stuff like that. Like they had this cool Christmas gingerbread gin that Tiff was looking at because at Detour Cafe here they have a little beer and wine liquor section. They had it there, and Cam was saying that the food there is brilliant. Yeah, I'm super. I'm just a big fan of them. I think they're just great dudes as well. How we had Cam on the pod again for Link Up, and he's just a lovely guy, man, and just like passionate about what they do, and they just seem like just a really good team, tight knit team that care. And it can't be easy to knock out high quality liquor and spirits on top of beer in the varied styles, plus the seltzer business. Like they're doing a lot, plus the kitchen and running the actual place. Like it's a lot of products that they're managing and have to do at a really high level. So I'm just
absolutely.
I'm just a big fan. I haven't been up there yet. I plan to get up there hopefully this or next month. Check it out and see what's going on. But
yeah, I would love to get up there sometime. Apparently, it's a beautiful space that they've got.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see it. But yeah, man, Willowbow, absolutely deserving of being on the list. And if you haven't tried them, couldn't recommend it enough. Definitely grab some of this stuff. I haven't had their spirits or their seltzers, but I've only heard amazing things. I definitely want to try all of those as well. And I imagine they're as good as the beers are. And
I've not. I've tried a couple of their spirits. Like I've had their kind of their house gin, which is quite good. And I've also had their first seltzer was their watermelon seltzer, which I remember being released in the summer of 2020, and that is just a banger on a hot summer day. Let me tell you.
I'm not surprised, man. Like the flavors they had were really cool. Like great flavors. I feel like I might even give them a crack this summer. I feel like there's just too much beer right now. I'm always distracted by the volume of beer, so I don't dabble as much as perhaps I would like. But the seltzers look really fun, man. I'm just like fan of them, and then the branding. Not even to mention the branding is killer. I feel like the way they execute
Really
the
good.
social is high level. Their merch is great. It's just a really thoughtful business run by really good people who really care, and
Absolutely.
we need more of it. And they're putting and they also really care about diversity. And they were they had a lot of really interesting thoughts about it. Like Cam had some really cool things to say about what they people are coming to work in air, who live in Guelph, who live in Kitchener, who live here, because there's maybe 30-45 minute travel time, which is pretty normal for someone to commute to a job. So they're able to attract a more diverse, workforce in a smaller town that's slowly growing because it's cheaper to buy land out there than it is. People are moving out of the bigger cities and such. So yeah, man, I just feel like they're a net positive impact on the industry, and that's what we want to see more of.
100%.
Let's fucking go. So, first two down. Nate, do you want to let them know the next honorable mention?
Yes, absolutely. So, next honorable mention is Best New Brewery in Ontario of 2022. And this one comes to us from Bloomfield, Ontario. It's All My Friends Brewing.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So,
do all the
welcome to the
claps.
scene, all
Sorry.
my friends.
Yes.
That's all right. These are new guys in the Prince Edward County scene, which is just booming in the last couple of years with with the additions of Slake and now All My Friends, and of course they already had bangers like Matron and the rest of the good breweries there. It's It's just a great scene out that way. But yeah. They had a few things from All My Friends already. Their haze is tasting pretty good. West Coasts are solid. However, the most special one that I had recently was one that I got from you from our from our trades that you grabbed for me from Durand was Stellar, their oatmeal milkshake stout, and that one was just glorious.
9%, just a meal in a glass. So nice. Not to mention
Absolutely.
the can with this beautiful, because it's called Stella, it had this little space thing going on, and they had the black cap. So it was it's like the can was black, and it had the sticker that didn't go top to bottom. So then it had the sticker around it that was all just like metallic and beautiful, and then the black cap. It was just such a really well presented beer as well. Obviously the liquid inside was fantastic. Their branding across the board though is A1. It is just fantastic.
It's really, really good.
The labels can't be cheap. With all that metallic
I
and
wouldn't
stuff.
think.
No,
Yeah.
we're definitely going to have Ryan and the team on the pod. We've been in talks with them to get that on for a little while now, but they want something that we try not to do if breweries don't want to. I feel like we don't always want to get them on the pod. They've been open for 2 weeks. Let's get them on. Yeah, you want to give them a bit of time to get in the groove, to tighten stuff up, dial it in. Even I tried basically all their early releases, and then as it's gone over, I imagine it was in the summer. They were here. I got them all from Durand, so I imagine it was from when we moved here. And the improvement in say the last 4 to 6 months was already really strong. Like there was one IPA called Candy that I had is crazy. I couldn't believe the jump. So it's like they figured the system out. Like, all right, we know what we're doing. So obviously they were great brewers beforehand. You got to figure out the system, but also you're translating these maybe homebrew recipes. Is my guess because we haven't had the story yet to these larger systems, and then you got to tweak them guys, and they're putting out some interesting styles. I saw today they had like a dry hop blonde. They got like some sort of citrus wheat beer, pale ales, some sours. I had, obviously the stout, IPAs, pale ales, double IPAs. Like they're putting out some really interesting stuff, man. They're going hard. They're taking everything really serious. So
Absolutely.
very, very impressed. They are going to be, and I imagine you would agree with me here, being that they were the best new brewery 2022, they are the one to watch for 2023, I think.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what this next year, like what they're able to put out in in the next year. I have a feeling we'll be talking about them in a year's time.
I could not agree more. I'm very excited for that one. So, moving on, top 10. Nate, next one.
Yes, so I should go grab that beer before
I can stall for a bit.
before we
Yeah.
do that one. Yeah, okay, be right back.
No worries. So, really great start. Yeah, I mean, look, once again, for those who maybe forgot, like the breweries that we are choosing are just the ones that we happen to have a decent amount from this year. So, if there are breweries that we need to know about, comment, DM, message, whatever, let us know. If what we need to be drinking, and trying this year to keep these lists diverse, because we want to just try the best of the best. So, all right, Nathaniel.
All right. Yeah. So next time I'll go and grab while you're still talking about the previous one, so you don't need to tap dance in between.
I'm used to it, but yes, I like that.
All right, here we go. So next up in the top 10 is a hometown one for me. Another one that was on the list last year, and one that'll surprise no one, I think. Tooth and Nail from Ottawa, Ontario.
Hey, oh wait! Gotta clap him in. Gotta clap him in for Maddie. Oh yes.
There it is.
Oof. This man, I fucking love Tooth and Nail, bro.
So do I.
You put me onto them. I think you
yeah,
put me onto them.
Yeah. I think so. Yes, and they were. I think they were your first Ottawa pod, if I'm not mistaken.
They were. It was special, and it was funny because it was at a time where I was absolutely crazy obsessed with Haze, because it was just something that I was getting into. It was 2017, so they did not do that. So I felt like I only really started to appreciate Tooth and Nail in the last 2 years. Maybe even less.
Right.
Maybe like even year. And now I'm like, I saw you we went to Quebec for the 5e Oktoberfest in September. And I came and saw you. And then I went by Tooth and Nail. I was like, that was the only brewery I went to after 5e. I was like, well, I'm going to fucking Tooth and Nail, bro. So
Yeah.
I had to go. And even just to pick up, you got me this stuff, thank God, because I feel like you were going there. I'm like, anytime you go there, just please holler at me, because I always going to want some. But, Vim and Vigor, which is what I thought I had tonight, but I drank them all, is one of the greatest pilsners in the province. Easily.
Absolutely.
Like, it's ridiculous how good this is. I have, just while you're taking those photos, I have Grace and Gratitude, their whole cone SARS lager. Which is the first time I got 2 cans of this. It's the second can. This is really, really spectacular. And you have your favorite beer there.
Yes, I do, and it's even the same one that I was drinking when we were talking about Tooth and Nail last year on this podcast. It is, once again, it's one of my favorite beers that they put out. This is Hop Hugs, which is their annual whole cone classic American IPA, their tribute to Sierra Nevada celebration.
And
it's
so good.
Yeah. It's so fucking good. You finally had it for the first time a few weeks ago. What'd you reckon?
Yes, loved it, bro. It's the perfect, like, a fresh hop IPA. I think it's like 6%, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And it was just exactly what you want, like that perfect malty caramel, just enough piney resin bitterness, that sort of that herbal grassiness of the fresh cone hops. And it was just, once again, I really, like I was saying, I feel like I absolutely didn't appreciate Tooth and Nail when I first was exposed to them. Now I get it. I fucking get it. And Tooth and Nail and Godspeed to me are very much alike in their dedication to the craft of brewing. Matt is very serious with it. That's why they didn't buy into any of the the hype stuff, and they do spectacular stouts Incredible range of crispies. They don't do any haze, but they do something like that. The hop hugs, it's like the celebration, you know, and they execute, man. And it's
Yeah,
just so good.
it's a case of when I'm having a sip of hop hugs, like I don't wish it was haze, you know.
Hmm.
It's like there's enough people like making great haze. Like when it comes to tooth and nail, I would I'd much rather do like have them do what Maddie wants to brew, because what he wants to brew is really fucking good. Like,
100%.
you couldn't ask you couldn't ask for for anything better when you're having like a Vim and Vigor or Grace and Gratitude. This like they brew some dynamite West Coast IPAs.
Oh yeah.
Like like a fave of mine is Sucker Punch, which is their West Coast double IPA. And that one is aptly named because like that literally just tastes like a hot punch in the mouth.
I
It's
love it.
like it's that much like it's so fucking good. Like it's super super piney, like it's sticky resinous vibes. It's like that thick caramel malt. It's really fucking good,
Try that.
and you certainly would never be complaining if you're there at the brew pub and you have Fortitude on Nitro. That is just heavenly.
I was somewhere recently, Bar Hop, and I had it on Nitro because they had it there because you had talked about it and it was glorious. For my
Yeah,
brother's
yeah.
birthday in November, and I got to drink some of the actually one of the breweries is coming up next, and two of the breweries is coming up next, and then I had the Fortitude on Nitro. And I forgot to tell you about it. It was just genuinely fantastic, man. One thing I really loved, we did the pod. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but I would love to do it this year. And I'm telling you publicly just because I'll forget telling you afterwards. We should do the pod again because I know you were sick. I think the last time we had it organized for the St. Patrick's Day release, where we did the 4-pack of stouts, and we drank that during the pod, and Noah filled in for you. But I'd love to do that with me, you, and Maddie, and Noah can jump on if he likes, if he's not busy. But if we'd like to do that this year, maybe we should follow up on that because I'd love to talk more about this type of stuff with Maddie. Their stouts are just so good, though. They're so good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you got me a bottle of the Fortissimo barrel aged stout last trade that we did, which I was very stoked to have. So I'm gonna let that sit in the cellar for a little bit, but I'm very excited for that. I don't think I've
Yeah, that's.
had.
I'll expect to see that coming up on a Big Beer Wednesday soon.
You know the vibes. I've been looking at it. I'm trying to like figure out what I want to do because it's literally like one of these beers per week. I've got to be like, oh, I got to pre-plan it. But yeah, I'm very excited for that. I just once again, it's this dedication and the passion. And I guess as we're going through this, you're gonna probably see that come up a lot. And because we know Matt and we know how he gets down, from the range of beers, he's very similar to Godspeed in the sense that like he does what he cares about. The range is tight from like crispies to a certain type of IPA. I think they do like some barley wines, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then like the big stouts and stuff, and also like small stouts, anything from like the oatmeal up to the barrel aged stuff. It's a tighter niche of what he does, but he does them all so well, and there's something to be said about that. I think that could
Absolutely.
arguably be part of the future of craft beer, not only just in Ontario but anywhere. Is that you're gonna have to lean into something, whatever it is
Yeah.
that you do well. That's what you're gonna have to keep doing because that's what's going to
Yeah.
separate you from everyone else. And they just had their 7th anniversary a few months ago. I think it was in September actually, because I went and got the 7th. They do the Vim and Vigor anniversary edition. It's slightly different and it's just glorious.
And they do. And they do Red Letter Day as well, which is their anniversary IPA. And when I was there to grab that, Matt was telling me he reckons that's the best IPA they've put out. And like having tried that, that was fucking
Special.
money. It was
Yeah, man.
really really good.
Yeah, and it was somewhat along the lines of the Hop Hugs, like not obviously not exactly the same, but along those lines of IPA. Would you say, or was that not fair?
I wouldn't put it quite the same. Hop Hugs is different with it being like the whole cone vibe, like the whole cone fresh hop vibe. That's it's a bit of a different thing. Like Red Letter Day is more is more of a true West Coast. Um, but but the thing with it though is it was so refined, and I like something that really stuck out to me with it is that the malt bill really shined in like in that one, and for that to stand out in an IPA is no easy feat. Because it's so easy for hop flavor to to dominate in it, and not to say that the hops were weren't a big player in it, but like the malt character in it really created such a delightfully balanced experience that I'm I can't even adequately describe it to to do it justice. It was just it was just that fucking good.
That's completely fair. I knew you would have a better take on it than I do. I'm still sort of trying to consume much more tooth and nail this year. I definitely have. I want to be drinking a lot more of their beers. I'm just last year was probably the most tooth and nail I'd had, and I was very happy to do that. And I would like that to continue this year. I mean, I guess I can always just fucking order it online too, but it's always fun to if you're going to go past there, might as well get some more. But yeah, man,
Yeah,
this is just
absolutely.
another brewery that thank you for putting me onto them. And I'm just extremely, once again, happy that what they're contributing to Ontario craft beer is just phenomenal, and it's a genuine pleasure. And I really hope the people, if you haven't tried them, like, and you're in Ontario, go order them. If you're not, fucking figure it out. Trade with someone, whatever it is. They're just you need them in your life. For
Yeah,
real.
you got to do it.
Beautiful. All right. I feel like we're plodding along here, so we might have to move a little faster. The next brewery, this one, let me see if I got something from them. There we go. This next brewery is a big fave of mine as well. I believe they were on last year. These are the most innovative brewery in the province, if not the country. Make some noise for Rorschach Brewery. Yes. So Rorschach, this was a collab we did with them. I think it's 2021. Yeah, 2021. This is their series called Decadence, and we did one called Decadent As, and to play on the Aussie thing. And Decadence is probably it's got to be top two, top three at most, best beer series in Ontario. Like I love it so much. It's just a 7% milk stout, and they make them after different desserts typically or something fun, and they're just so balanced. Like they have no business being that balanced and easy to drink, and perfect sweetness. I've moved away, and you have too, because I know you can speak to this. Moved away a little bit from like the big pastries. They're not as interesting maybe as they used to be. You and I seem to have moved towards the more refined stuff. You were there before me, but I'm catching up with the Crispies, with like well done farmhouse, with just like bourbon barrel aged big stouts with West Coast IPAs, as opposed to the crazy shit. Obviously, haze is a big thing, but that aside, I feel like Rorschach have really nailed that and made it so palatable and so delicious, whilst also being fucking bonkers with their other shit. I don't know if you
Yeah,
had anything you want to add on that first before I keep going.
yeah. I think you're absolutely right on on the Decadence series. I think that when it comes to pastry esque, I even hesitate to call them pastry
Yeah,
stouts,
they
but
call them
like
dessert stouts or
right,
milk.
right, and that's probably adequate. But they're like dessert stouts, pastry adjacent, whatever you want to call them. I think what they do right with those stouts is with whatever dessert that they're trying to mimic with it. That like what they're adding to it are like ingredients that will that will create that flavor, as opposed to just chucking in like a full version of something. Like if they're trying to do like a chocolate bar, they're going to throw in like cocoa nibs and coconut and and cherries and whatnot, like they did with like with Decadent As. They're not chucking in entire whole chocolate bars to it.
That's a good point.
And that makes a huge difference in in how they come out. It's really because really what they're doing is they're tailoring the ingredients to a beer to create a desired flavor. Whereas when you're taking a whole product that was never meant to really be made into a beer. There are ones that have kind of done well with that, but taking the individual ingredients to kind of tailor it to a beer to create that flavor, you get a different result from that. And I think that no one does that better than Rorschach with that series.
Well said. I never thought about that. I think that's very, very true. And I think that, they also do the Malevolent Benevolence series of, like, they're about 14%. They're pretty big Imperial Stouts. And they kind of do the same thing where they're kind of a little bonkers. Sometimes they're like apple brandy barrels or French rum barrels or whatever. And then sometimes they're like mint chocolate or like Hawaiian punch or some shit like that. But they're still refined in the same way because they don't put in like cakes or candy bars and things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and the thing that they avoid from not doing those things, some of those ones where you throw in cakes or chocolate bars or cereal or whatever, you end up with an end product that kind of has an oily residue on it, and not only does that create kind of like it creates a nasty film on the top of it and makes it so that there's absolutely no head, as you like you were just saying.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Yeah.
It's fuck you. It's one of those things that can kind of kill the experience a little bit. But if you're able to still create that taste, have like a nice full body to it that's not kind of creating an oily texture on your palate, and still be able to have like the right carbonation to still have good head retention and whatnot, like that's what you want if you're making that kind of a beer.
Couldn't agree more. I kind of I didn't even consider that as one of their like key points for why they're so good. I love that so much, and that's so true for at least those two things. But I feel like they are a brewery that kind of do the whole range of stuff, and they do them all really well. They're Crispies. They do everything. A sick Mexican lager. Their horchata dessert lager. Funnily enough, our collab with Nickelbrook, the green apple beer, was inspired by that. The horchata lager that they do with lactose in a lager, which is something I always joked about, and they fucking did it, and it's fire. They do the Japanese super dry, and there was another version with something yuzu or some shit that looks like an Asahi can, and it's fire, like a Japanese lager. Super great. Their IPAs, insane, like crazy thick haze, super dank, really well used. Like the way they rock the hops, phenomenal. One thing they did in 2022 was a series called Haterade, which was pretty funny, and it's essentially mimicked after Gatorade. And they did a blue one, and it was like they actually used Gatorade powder, and it's fucking bright blue and just tastes like the blue one was like whatever blue flavor Gatorade's like. It's like a sour beer.
They're probably saying it's blue raspberry or whatever.
Probably something like that. And then for Pride, they did like 6 different ones, and they keep releasing like a green one, a red one, but the red one isn't raspberry. It's fucking red Gatorade shit, like a yellow one, a purple one, and stuff like that. And I didn't try any of those. Dan did. Shouts to Dan. If y'all listen to BAOS, you know who Dan is, and he was saying they're great. So like, I feel like that was just like a fun thing that they're doing. Like they're doing ridiculous shit like that, like all the time. But it's like ridiculous, but good, because ridiculous isn't always good. And I really feel like they've been able to bring it to good. Sorry, great.
They like what you and I often argue about innovation. Like Rorschach are one of the ones that I would say do good innovation.
There you go. I mean, look, I'm kind of off that a little bit now. Now I'm team refined, but they do the best innovation for sure. I just feel like they're just always fun with super like lighthearted and about it. They're not too like and they're easily the most under the radar brewery in Ontario, I think. I just don't understand why they're not more hyped based on the sheer quality of what they're doing, from, like Decadence, which is my favorite, to like the big barrel-aged stouts, to like the Killer Crispies, the Fire. Their haze is like lineup-worthy haze. Like it's phenomenal. And everything's in the short can. They do everything except, I think it's called Normopathy. There's like one lager in the big can. Everything else essentially is in short cans. So I love that. I think short cans are awesome. And they do, I think for their anniversary, it was their 5th anniversary, so they did like a quintuple hopped, 11.9% IPA or whatever the fuck. Like, it was bonkers.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, and it was great. It really, truly was great. And once again, short can. could do it by myself without having to fuck me up for the whole evening. So I don't know, man. I'm just a really big fan. They also did Link Up Series 3 over the summer, and they did a cold IPA that was fantastic. It was their first cold IPA. And they just did a real great job, man. They're just really passionate about the cause, too. And to me, that's not why they're on the list, because they were on the list last year. That was just dope. I was just really happy to have them involved. And I just think Matt and Nolan, just great dudes, and the team seems super cool. And now they got the pizzas and stuff there that I haven't had, but I'd love to go there for a pizza and hang out.
Yeah.
Big fan.
One final note, and
yes.
they're another one that also have a non-alcoholic beer because they've got their free spirit, one there as well. And they've had that for a few years now, so that's like I said, they were ahead of the game on that for sure.
They were
great brewery.
Glad you mentioned that, which is fantastic. So if you're into the NA stuff, it's a fire hazy IPA, really really good stuff, definitely great. So huge shouts to Rorschach. Now I think it's time for an honorable mention. This would be you, sir.
It is time. It is time for an honorable mention. And while it's right in the same vein, we accidentally had these lined up very well while we're talking about underrated breweries. Yeah. So this honorable mention is the Underrated Award, and it goes out to Rouge River Brewery.
Hey. That's a good one, man.
Yes. Yeah, it's absolutely a good one. It's one of those ones that every time I see some stuff either on Instagram or if I'm looking at what's in stock at Durand, I'm like, oh yeah, like Rouge River, their shit is fucking good, man. So they are one of the ones that have been around doing haze in Ontario for a while now, and it's top quality shit. Like they've got a couple beers that have been old, really heavy traded stuff that back before the widespread days of being able to order beer online and whatnot. Like things like Dankster's Paradise and Dankster King. Those are pretty heavily treated beers. If you go back. If you go back 4 or 5 years, and those beers still hold up beautifully, when they're coming out now.
Yeah, I've never tried either of them, but I do recall you telling me about it. And funnily enough, Durand did a top 10 beers of 2022, and Dankster's Paradise, or I think that one made their top 10. No, yeah, I think it was their beer of the year. It was their actual number one, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, dang, okay.
I was kind of pissed because I was like, motherfucker, I didn't get it. So I'm going to get it. I think it comes out every year, so I'm definitely going to grab it this year. I feel like Rouge River are underrated. They're based in Markham, which is just outside, a suburb of Toronto. And it's in this, industrial park. It's there's basically zero walk by traffic or anything. And you kind of got to know to go there. And I feel like that might play a part in their underratedness. And it's... I'm definitely going to put it, just like I said with Tooth and Nail, I feel like that's a brewery that I really want to drink more of in 2023. I feel like I had 2 beers from them last year type shit, which is why they didn't make the top 10. They probably would have if both of us drank more of them. I really think so. I almost got some today, to be honest, but I was already buying too many beers. So I was like, fuck. Because they had a couple new drops, and their label art is improving. It's super dope. Before it wasn't bad at all, but they went from the bottles now to cans, and we had them on the pod in I want to say 2018. It was fucking ages ago. So, definitely excited to see what they do this year. And I feel like they're probably just getting better. And I want to be on top of that because I feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah. Make that a goal for 2023.
Cool. So we got 2 so far. Beautiful. Love it. All right. I'm going to introduce the next one. This is halfway. This is a brewery I actually discovered. Oh, I have one of their beers here. In 2022, I knew about them because of other hype brewery owners were hyping up this brewery. And I think they're going to be one of the... When people discover how fucking good they are, I think they're going to be definitely one of the bigger breweries in Ontario if this secret gets out. And that brewery is Sun & Hill. So this is their Link Up beer. They did Link Up... this last series. I actually bought a bunch of them today. Finally, Durand got them in, so I finally got some. I know you managed to get some, but I only just got it today. This Sun & Hill, a fantastic brewery in Caledon. They're actually, close to Orangeville, I believe. And They do a whole bunch of stuff, primarily crispy boys. I believe they do a bunch of like farmhouse stuff, like sours and things, which I have
Yeah.
not had. And I've had one of their IPAs, and it was fantastic. Um, Callum is the owner and brewer. He's like a real quiet spoken, chill dude. Seems also very serious about what he does, just like Maddie, just like Bim. Once again, continual science. Their crispies are just gorgeous. I drank a lot of them last year. Fortunately, I was able to get my hands on a bunch. I went to Bar Hop a few times, and Bar Hop always have Sun and Hill on. Fortunately, so I was able to try a bunch there. Durand typically stocks them, so today I got their Hellas, and I got some more of the link up because I only had we only had the one for the pod, so I wasn't able to get any for you or my brother. So got some today. You managed to get some, but the hoppy pills they did was spectacular. I just think they're super refined. I fucking love them. If I could just have like Sun and Hill, Tooth and Nail, and Godspeed in the fridge, all the short cans with all the crispies, I'm set, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you're
so
a happy
good.
guy if you've got that. Like if you've got that lineup in your fridge. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I remember the episode that you were talking about where a hype brewery who we'll be talking about later we're praising these guys early on, both for their crispy boys and for their big bottles of their of their farmhouse stuff. It's really really good. I've not had a ton from them, but what I have had has been really really good, and I'm sure it's a very reliable indicator to go on how good the rest of their lineup is. The first thing I had from them was a collab that they did with Dominion City, which I think was a
What was
rice
that?
lager.
Okay.
If I'm remembering, I may have that wrong. It was a lager of some kind, but
Which side?
it was really. What's
Dominion
that?
or which side? What was it? At
No,
Dominion or at Sun?
it was a Sun and Hill beer.
Okay.
Um, it was really really good, and Bar Lupulus is they almost always have a Sun and Hill tap on. The last time I was there, I had Primo, which I think is a
Czech
lager.
lager. I had that recently.
Which
So
is
good. The green can.
It's just great. Yeah, it's just great.
Money.
And I've had the link up one now, which is also really really good. Like there just keeps on being more and more really really good lagers being brewed in Ontario, and we keep getting blessed with these breweries that are like really solely focused on that, and we're really lucky for it.
I could not agree more, and I want to hype them up as much as possible because I want them to stay around, and the way they stay around is that everyone fucking buys them. I don't want them to be hard to get either, but you want them to stick around. But yeah, man, they're just refined, complex, and the thing is now having this Tooth and Nail is so different to the Godspeed because I'm having a crispy. I know you're having the IPA there. And a Sun and Hill lager is so different to these two. So they're so different. You mentioned they got the Czech lager. Another favorite of mine, their lager beer. They had a Vienna that was fantastic. There's another one called Ziegler, which is a Czech lager, but a different kind. I can't remember the difference. Excuse my memory. I just feel like they do so many they're same but different type of shit, I guess.
Yep.
You can go get the net. I see what you're doing. And they're just so unique in their approach to everything. Now I haven't tried all of their any farmhouse or anything like that, but I'm gonna mute Nate. Jesus Christ, buddy, you having a fucking party or what? I haven't had any of the I'll mute you when you go just because the chair and stuff is loud as fuck. I was like, what's going on there? It's okay. So, but yeah, you haven't tried any of their farmhouse or anything, like their bottles? Because I haven't.
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, I was going to do an order because I really wanted more of the link up beer, and I was like, let me just do a full case of stuff and I'll get some bottles and blah blah blah. But then they had that today, so I was like, okay, fine. But yeah, man, I just feel they do so many different kinds of lagers, even Hellas German style and multiple different Czech ones, and then the Vienna one and just straight up lager beer. And now there's hoppy pills, which is great because I feel like there's not that many hoppy pills anymore. Like Bellwoods did Paper Tiger recently, and I was super stoked. I hadn't seen that in forever, so it was really good to have a hoppy.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while. So I was like, okay, I really enjoyed having that beer around. So I grabbed like 4 or 6 of those just because I want to have them bad boys kicking around because I always get Bellweiser, which I'm a big fan of. So I love that Son and Hill did it. Did something so cool for Link Up. It's super super dope. But yeah, man, I'm really excited to see what they do this year. I know Callum was saying he's really trying to like dial everything in, and I was like, well, your shit's already fucking A1 killers, brews. Like, how much better can it get? But you know how brewers can be, and they just want it to be more and more perfect, and I am here for it. So very excited to continue getting Son and Hill in me in 2023.
Absolutely. Well deserved.
Absolutely, indeed.
All
So,
right.
next one. This
Next
is
up.
Nathaniel. Let me get the glass for this. Oof. I'm
Yep.
trying to. These small cans, I'm just trying to like smash through them. They're just so good, bro.
Well, see, this is the trouble with the top 10, right? Is that like this is top tier in Ontario, so like it's hard to it's hard to stay like to keep what we're drinking at a manageable level because they're just too fucking good.
It's so good, and to be honest, I'm really grateful that the first two were low ABV. Like both of them were like 4.6, 4.5, and
Yeah.
short cans. So like it's not really touching the sides too much right now, but these next few will get there.
All right, so here we go. This is another so this was probably one of the first hype breweries in Ontario. This is one that we had on the podcast this year. Very very well deserved. Sorry, yes, in 2022.
It's okay.
The year we're talking about, anyways.
I don't know what I'm talking about. This is the only beer we got. Oh, we don't have the same one. We got a different one. Sorry, I ruined it.
No, Godspeed was the only one we had the same one, you idiot.
Yeah, I'm a dickhead. I'm sorry. I'm drunk.
Okay, can I introduce the fucking
sorry.
now?
I'm sorry. Let me get the applause button ready. Okay, go.
All right, here we go. Barn Cat Artisan Ales.
There we go. Oh, yes. So, Barncat, look, repping the hoodie I was wearing that yesterday. What a sexy hoodie. Yes, we had Jeremy on last year in this fantastic run of pods that we did in March before Nathaniel became a father. Fantastic. I believe Jeremy told us that Pulp, no, that's not true. Whatever the beer was that they dropped was the first hazy IPA in Ontario.
So that would have been Eminence.
Okay. Oh, I saw that today. That was in Durand. I didn't get it. I was like, oh, should I get it? Let's have it. So, Barncat were always, to me, the most mythical and possible to get brewery because they were in Cambridge and they were in growlers. So the first time I really had Barncat, was it the first time? One of the first times, because I think you got me some cans when they started doing them. I did a podcast with Hillary, Pretty Penny, who obviously we're always wearing her jewelry. She lives in Cambridge. She doesn't anymore, but she came and stayed with us in 2018 in Montreal. And she brought like 4 Barncat beers, and we did them all on the pod. And it was just insane. Like, they were definitely one of the pioneers of hazy IPAs in this glorious province. Oh my goodness. I had this Space Junior Pale Ale. Oh my god, what the fuck? That smells insane.
Yeah, so to talk about, to interrupt quickly there and just talk about the beers that we're doing. So, yeah, you've got Space Junior there, because and what that refers to, Space Juice is one of the double IPAs that they've been doing for a while. They just put out recently. Actually, I just had that one last week.
So did I.
Which is a Galaxy Citra double IPA. One of their classics. It's really really good. And this is a pale ale version of that. Which I've not yet had, but I'm sure you'll tell us and the people how it is very soon.
You're damn right.
I am actually not going for a hazy boy this time. I've got their Vienna Lager, which I've never had before, and I think this is the first time that they've actually done this one. They've been doing more lagers over the last couple of years, and despite being a primarily hazy boy brewery, they knock out some pretty fucking good lagers too. So that's what I'm going here. And look at the gorgeous color on this.
Oh, that is
this gorgeous
stunning.
copper. It's like crystal clear.
which is
Shall we
perfect.
take a sip?
Yes, sir. Cheers. Get it in ya. I got the literal opposite. It is murk here. Murk City.
Yeah, it is.
Fuck. That is great.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yours is great? Of course it's great. I got to review this real quick.
Um,
Yeah, but like, how did you discover Barncat?
So, I mean, I discovered them primarily like just on Instagram and was just kind of drooling over them for the longest time because like out here in Ottawa, I had no fucking way to get a hold of them back then.
Totally.
But earlier on in my Instagram days, when I like as I was getting to know people in the scene, I was doing a bit of trading, and you know, kind of became online friends with a very kind dude who who many people in Ontario will know, Bad Chatter. Is the guy who was my primary barn cat source for for a good couple of years. He was my main source of barn cat. Even managed to ship me growlers all the way from from Cambridge to Ottawa. Don't know how he managed to do that. He did that a couple of times,
What a
and
legend.
he also made sure. Oh yeah, he's an absolute legend. Chad's a G. But he also got me most of their canned releases at the time too. Dude really had me hooked up. And then a buddy of mine who lived who lived in the area kept me pretty well stocked thereafter. But yeah, as you were saying, we were talking to Jeremy when we had him on, and he was saying he was pretty confident that their initial release of Eminence predates the haze that came out of Bellwoods. Which is a bold claim. I'm inclined to believe him. I don't think he would say anything like that lightly, but you know, they were definitely one of the first, and probably the first, as he says, haze release in Ontario.
I thought the other one, and I think you once again, my memory is horrendous, but it was Juicin from Sawdust was the other one. So I think there was those three were in the original conversation.
Yeah, and that must have all been within like a month or two of each other.
Yes, exactly right. Which is pretty crazy, and I felt like that, like as far as like look at that level of murk, that's what they were doing from the beginning, and that wasn't available. Like even Bellwood stuff, like even Jatsu or any of the other beers they were doing were not that murky from memory in 2016, 2017. Even Juicin wasn't that murky back then.
No, it's true.
And that was what appealed to me personally because nothing else looked like this. Even just opening that can, this is Citra Galaxy, just like I guess what'd you say it was? Cats in Space, right?
Space
Juice.
Well, Cats in Space is all Galaxy. Space Juice is Citra Galaxy.
Okay, so Space Juice, I'm sorry. So this is just a pale ale version of that, but just this burst of tropical fruit and just this mouthfeel is insane. I'm just so deeply impressed as I thought I would. Like Barncat, and but then you're drinking the Vienna, and then on the pod they sent an ESB for fuck's sake. Yeah. I've told so many people about that, by the way. I was like, multiple hype breweries have sent an ESB to do a podcast, and I'm like, that is gangster as fuck. And ESBs are so dope. I really, really love ESBs now, and I felt like that is so cool of Barncat to do that. When they're so known for this, that's how they got themselves on the map. Not to mention Rat Queen, which is one of the best stouts I've ever had, just the OG. They do multiple variants of it that are just absolutely bonkers. I think we had the pumpkin spice one recently, which Jeremy told.
And that there was the pumpkin spice beer of the year, hands down.
Not even a discussion. It was just phenomenal. It was once again balanced, refined, complex, rounded. Not like attacking you. Like it was just the right amount of spices. Like it was very present, but it was still this glorious stout. Like it was taking precedence, type of thing.
Yeah, and they also make one of my favorite, one of my all-time favorite barley wines is a Barncat beer.
What's it called?
Out.
Oh, you mentioned that. So
Yeah,
because you mentioned it,
I got a
go.
I got a bottle of that on my very first visit to Barncat in person. I've only been 3 or 4 times, and I got a bottle of Green Out on my very first visit. And I don't think they've made it again since. And I'm
Ooh.
like, and I was badgering Jared about it when we had him on the pod, and I want him to make it again.
Hey, hopefully he does,
It
because that
was like it was a heavily hopped American barley wine, and I really dig that. And if it was super thick, like one of those ones that pours like a thick apple cider almost.
ooh, okay, I'm gonna
Um,
talk about.
yeah, but like I really want them to brew that one again. It was so fucking good. I'm sure it would taste completely different to me now because we're going back like a good like a good 5 6 years at least
So
that they last
maybe,
made it that I last tasted it. I'd be really keen to try it now.
mate, the
Anyway, but
yes,
like it's yeah, so that we don't dwell on this for too long. But Barncat are the fucking goats. Like one of the premier haze breweries of of the province. It's leaders of the game for sure.
100%. Even this year, because I've been doing trades with my friend in Montreal, obsessed with barley wines. So we got their sweet release, which we grabbed one for you as well, which was their double
Yep.
barrel barley wine. I haven't cracked it yet, but I'm very excited for it. And they did a couple of other ones this year. They did that a bottle condition one called Infinity, where it was all like hand drawn on the bottle. Excuse me. So I like that they're doing that. There's not that many breweries doing barley wines out of
It's true.
Ontario, right? Like there's a lot more probably in Quebec, arguably. So it's very cool to see them do that. They do haze at this level, and then do something like a barley wine that it's just phenomenal. It's really great shit. Boncat a killer. If you haven't tried them, now they're much more available, I guess, because of all the distros. So any of your favorite independent stores around at least southwestern Ontario would be probably a little easier to
Yeah.
get. Are we southwestern?
And what
Where
I
is it?
and what I would say and what I would say too, if you're in an area that doesn't have a good independent bottle shop that has good stock, or whatnot that has Barncat, a good resource that I found for stuff that isn't available to me locally and is kind of tough to get orders for. Bevy Bira is a place that I order from fairly frequently, and they get all of Barncat's drops. So and they ship all around the province. So that's a resource if you're ever looking for that.
That's a good hookup. Duran don't ship, I guess, right? You can order online and pick up.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes, it's but at least they're distributing a lot now, and I feel like like I imagine a lot of the places that are really staying up on all their stuff. So like I grab whatever whenever I see them as well. So Barncat, absolutely, they were on last year, of course, right?
I don't think they were actually. I think they were in our honorable mentions. I don't know why. I don't
Do you
know
know
what the
why?
fuck we were
It's
thinking, but
we were crazy. Two, we probably just didn't try much of them, and that's what it came down to.
yeah, that's all. Yeah, that would have been all it
I
was.
wonder if we could find that list. I'd love to know what last year's were, just to compare it. But I can't remember at all. I have no
We
record.
might we might still have it in our notes. We could look back.
We can check it while we're talking. Alrighty. Next, we only got a few more to go, so we're moving nice. Nathaniel.
Yeah. We're moving along. All right. So next up is one in your new neighborhood, actually. Going to Hamilton. Next up is Fairweather Brewing Company.
Fairweather. Did you put me
All
on the
right.
Fairweather? I can't remember. I feel like you put me onto a lot of stuff in
Um,
Ontario, to be honest. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't.
yeah, I'm not sure if I would have put you if I would have put you onto Fairweather, but I mean, someone would have if like at some point if it wasn't me.
Yeah.
They've been around for a little while now. I feel I mean, Collective Arts are obviously the Hamilton OGs, but I feel like Fairweather and Merritt came on the scene pretty close to around the same time. Um, Merritt's also fantastic, but like Fairweather, the reason that we agreed that they belonged in the top 10 this year is there's a bunch of stuff that they've been putting out like this past year that has just been super, super dialed in. They've been a good brewery for a while, but there's a few things that have just been really dialed in really, really nicely in this past year.
Yeah.
Like a few that come to mind, Donna would be in the conversation for one of the best pilsners in the province, I would say. If you were to be making a short list, it would be on there for sure. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. And a fun fact, we happened to go, that was one of the breweries that we met at it was actually only in December. Very end of December,
Yep.
we went and had a couple beers at Fairweather, which was lit, and we noticed a Luca tap behind the bar. And Nathaniel said to a lady,
Yes.
"Is that Luca tap?" No, you asked her, say, "Hey, do you do?" I can't remember how it went.
I said, is that Donna on that tap?
And she was like, "Fuck yeah, it is." And you're like, "All right then." I had Donna for the first time at Fairweather. We actually went there the day we moved in here. So we went here, showered up, went to Fairweather, and it's a really dope spot because it's right next to Grain and Grit, which is another fantastic brewery. Hamilton definitely isn't starved for great beer out here, and I feel like it's just the beginning. There's about to be a whole bunch out here. I really hope to see. Being it's a little more affordable than Toronto, but still very, very close in proximity. And they just, yeah, I mean, Donna's phenomenal. And I feel like not only that, I feel like their IPAs are fantastic. They did the California King, West Coast IPA that specifically you were like, bro, fucking get that beer. Like I went there.
Yeah, I was losing my mind over California King. That was one that was released twice in 2022. I missed the first release of it, and I was fucking fuming over it. I was kicking myself for it. I waited too long, and it was gone. So when it came back the second time, I wasn't wasting any time with it, and man, it was so worth the wait. Yeah. I think that one would win the award for like clearest West Coast IPA of the year. No, I'm serious. Like pouring that, I could see through it as clearly as this. It was so, it was so clear and just really delicate flavor. Like the pine, the caramel malt, the resinous vibes, but that were not it wasn't incredibly sticky. It was sweet, but it was delicate. The caramelized grapefruit. I'm drooling just talking about it right now. And that was.
You're making me thirsty. Bro.
That was that was up there. That must have been Ontario West Coast IPA of the year, I think.
Fuck. I mean, I can't think of a pushback for that. Particularly one that's not like if we don't count flagships, which I think is fair. Yeah, man, it's spectacular, and I love that they're able to do. That's two styles that they've done phenomenal. Silky is their porter. It is fantastic. I had their cold IPA recently. The cold IPA was no, I'm sorry, not a cold IPA, IPL, basically the same shit.
Yeah.
You had that when we were there. The IPL was.
That's right.
Another big fave was the other one that we both had there, the Wishing Well 2022, which is their big pastry stout. And it was, once again, a refined, really, really great approach to a pastry stout. It was like 10% or 10.2 or something. Really balanced toasted coconut, vanilla, and coffee. Just really, really well executed. Wasn't over the top. There wasn't any cakes or any crazy shit in it. Once again, nothing wrong with that. But they just, they show that's kind of what they do, I guess, right? When the way you talked about the IPA and the Pilsner and all these other different styles, like that's what they carried that ethos through to their like pastry stout, which could have been ridiculous if they wanted to. And it had yerba mate in it, sorry, as well. Which is fascinating, and they've got by POC individuals working there, which is fantastic. One of them's on Link Up now, one of our applicants, which is fantastic. Yeah, man, it's beautiful. We were there. We saw Ram, the owner, who's such a champion, and I went there with Jeff from town. I think in November we hung out at the back. I'd never seen the back before, and it was fucking massive. Like the tap room is tiny, and the back is like 10x the size of the tap room. I just feel like the team is cool. The tap room is a vibe. In the summer, like we moved in July, so we went to the freaking, what's it called, the patio, and it was glorious. The service is great. I just feel like the range, their sours are really good too. I mean, they have like a really great
Yeah.
range of sours. Even they did this one, I forgot, I think it was called Loire, Loire, and it was a like a Sauvignon Blanc grape IPA. You know,
Yep.
so they're doing innovative stuff. They're doing like, really well done, refined traditional shit. I
Yep.
feel like they.
Like another one that I was losing my mind over earlier this year was double high grade.
Oh
I'm a
yes, that
big
was
like
great.
I'm a big fan of high grade, which is their flagship IPA. It's
It's
really fucking good.
fantastic.
It's so good. I would drink that any day of the year.
Any day, if I see it on tap
Um,
anywhere, I'm getting that.
Absolutely, like that's a sure thing right there. But double high grade, I've had a bit of a complicated relationship with with double versions
Yes,
of single IPAs
they don't always
that
hit.
I've loved. No, they don't always hit, and like a prime example, like Bellwoods, love them to death. Double Jutsu, I fucking hate it. It's
Terrible, unfortunately.
it's a bad beer. It's a bad beer. I'm sorry. I love Bellwoods, but Double Jutsu is not great. But like Jutsu is fantastic. It's a spectacular beer. It's one of the best hazy pale ales in the province. It's the precursor to hazy pale ales in
It's
the
a
province.
legendary beer, arguably.
Yes, but double Jutsu doesn't fly.
Does not.
Um, Double high grade, however, that was one of the first double editions of a single beer that has been really really great.
Yes,
I was really really impressed with it.
I very much agree. I think, yeah, high grade definitely needs the props. I feel like flagships don't get the props, period, regardless of the style. And high grade should get
Yep.
the props that it deserves for being such a fantastic year rounder. It's always in cans. You go to a lot of bars, like there's a place called Bernie's Tavern on Cannon Street here, and they it's kind of like it changed names because we went there, it was something different, then we moved here and it changed. I'm like, oh, okay. And I went back there. They have a bunch of local stuff. They had high grade on tap there, but they sell like wings and like big ass pretzels and shit. It's perfect. Like it's like the beer. If I'm going there and I see, kind of like not a craft beer place, but like a nice little restaurant that has a decent 5 different craft beers, you're probably going to see high grade on there out here, and it's one of
Yeah.
those beers you'd be kind of silly not to get because it tastes great. It's bright. It's dank. It's fantastic, and I couldn't agree more with the double version of that. But I feel like once again, the more we're talking about it, the more I see Fairweather. They do like a really good breadth of beers that are super interesting. Their branding is phenomenal. The tap room is a vibe. Their merch is great. The cool ass people. I just really I really appreciate them, man. I just think they're great humans, and they they're a really good example of what kind of beer could come out of Hamilton, and it makes me really proud to live here now. Like it's super dope. It's like I'm glad because you chose it when we were coming here. You were like, "Yo," because we could meet anyway. Do you want to get a coffee? Do you want to? Yeah, yo, I want to go to Fairweather. I'm like, "Fucking, let's go." And it was dope.
Absolutely.
I was really happy you chose to meet there because then it's whoever was going to say no to go there. It's just like a great brewery. It's really cool, man. So
It is.
I was
It
really
is.
when this came up, we both had it on our we had the top. I think we had 6 or 7 locked in, and then we had the extra, which was much more than 6 or 7. And
Yeah,
Fairweather
like
was
the
on there,
discussion list.
the discussion list. And when we talked about it, I think it was very easy to. We were just like, you know what, Fair, and I was like, yes, we need to put him in, and because I'd had enough Fairweather this year, and been there enough times to be like, even if I'd just been there a few times just to pick up beer, because Duran doesn't get them because they're local. They don't really get the local stuff, which makes sense. So I was like, cool, I'll swing by, get a 4-pack or 2, just grab a bunch of great stuff, and it just makes me happy to know that I can drink Firehouse beer from where I'm at, man. So, and it's not the hugest city. There's like 6 main breweries here, from what I understand. So, very very cool, well deserved, and it was the first time on the list,
That's
which
right.
is phenomenal. So,
So props to Fairweather.
props to Fairweather. Sorry, this beer is spectacular.
Yeah, I know.
And
I'm still gushing over this Vienna lager too. It's so fucking good. So it's time for another honorable mention.
honorable. Oh, it's time for an honorable mention. Are you sure? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's after the next one, no?
Oh, did
Or
I
is
fuck
it?
up?
We did 1, we did 2, we did 3, we did
Yeah, no,
4,
no.
we did 5.
Sorry, you're right. I fucked up. All right,
I would have
hold on
liked it.
2 seconds. You're
I
gonna
can
have to tap
still.
dance.
I can still. I'll tap dance. Don't you worry. Yeah, man. I'm very proud to be here in Hamilton. I really feel like the beer scene is phenomenal here. Oh, am I going to close the rings? Whoa, I don't know if I'm going to close the rings. Um, and I want to see. I'd love to know if there's more breweries coming in 2023 because if we have like 6 breweries here now, I'd love to know if there's more because obviously rent, land, all that type of stuff is a lot more affordable here than it is in say Toronto or elsewhere. And I feel like there's an appetite for craft beer in Hamilton. I feel like people really fuck with beer here and they get it. I go to Duran multiple times a week, and I don't always pick up beer, but whenever I do, I'm always seeing people in there. There's always someone else in there kind of checks shit out. They know what's up. So I feel like this is a great market for great beer. So I'd love to see if there's, I hope there's more breweries opening up here in 2023. I hope so. I haven't heard of anything.
So you know what, man? I think we fucked up because I think we were supposed to do one of the other one of the honorable mentions after Barn Bat because we've got 2 more left.
Ooh,
And we're
you might be right.
and we just finished 7. So let's do an honorable mention now before the next year,
I love
and
it.
then let's do the final honorable mention after that. So then we'll have the 2 more to run us to the finish.
There you go. Love it. Okay. Would you like to do the honors since I'm introducing the next one?
Sure. All right. So this next honorable mention is what we're calling the Soft Spoken Award. And what we mean by that is this. Yeah, this is one of the low key best brewers in the province. So like a really top tier brewer from from what we call like kind of a soft spoken brewery, but but really deserves to be in the conversation of top tier. Another Prince Edward County gem. We're talking Matron Fine Beer.
This is so well deserved, and I love the name of this award, man. This was all. By the way, all of these names are all Nate. By the way, I absolutely can take 0 credit for this. This is fire, and I think that's great because Justin's such a chill dude, man. I love Justin. He's such a fucking good guy. He's always been cool from the second I met him when he was at Stone City, and we did a live podcast at a Prince Edward County fermentation what was it called? Picton Fermentation Festival, some shit like that, and now starting he's been out there for I think probably like 3-4 years, maybe more. Matron just doing, like you said, soft spoken, well, once again, bro, this is the theme, this is the fucking theme here. Refined, fantastically made beers, occasionally doing something new. They participated in Link Up Series 2 or 3. Fuck, I can't remember. 3.
I want to say it was 2. That might be wrong though. I'm not sure.
I don't have it in order. Okay.
In any case, interestingly, the Link Up was one of the was the highest ABV beer they'd ever done, which was pretty cool. It was a double IPA. That they called, even though it was at 7%, I would generally consider a double IPA 8 or more. But but by their standards, it was a double IPA. But it was a West Coast double, and it was delicious,
exquisite.
It was really, really good.
That would be one of the Link Up beers I really would like to bring back if we do a series where we bring back some faves or some shit like that. Fuck.
I would love to have that one again.
Yeah.
Keep going. There's a couple of beers that have really stood out to me. Leeway, which I think was the first cold IPA in Ontario.
Yes, it was.
And for my money, it's the best cold IPA from Ontario. That's my personal opinion. I think it's the best execution of kind of what the original intention of a cold IPA was.
Mm-hmm.
Another interesting release that they did, and I'm forgetting the exact name of it now, but he brought back a recipe of his from back when he was at Stone City.
I know what you're talking about.
Which was a great goza that they did. Back
it's probably
the
best
City.
goza I ever had. I would say,
Yeah.
from memory.
Oh, for sure. For
I
sure.
forgot the name of it too. I'm gonna have to ask him again. I swear I saw it today in Durand. Like there's a different can, and it's slightly different to the rest of them, and it was in the section which typically was with the sours, and I saw it, and it's not labeled as a goza. It's labeled as a
No, it's not.
sour beer with salt, lemon zest, and some other shit or whatever. Like it's you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But it's a fucking dynamite goza, and I was so jazzed when he when he brought that back.
Have you had it?
And like you say, yes, I have had it. It's
Is-
really like it tastes exactly like it did before.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna find out what it's called.
But
Keep
yeah,
going.
it's great. Their beers are fantastic. You can't go wrong going there. If you're doing a beer tour of Prince Edward County, it's got to be on your list. And Justin's just such a great dude, and I'm always excited for everything that comes out of Matron.
And Yesayer, their lager beer, is just like having that on tap at the brewery. The slow pour is just glorious.
Oh.
Muff, their dark beer, it's like this like ambiguous dark beer, intentionally so. Like it says in the description on tap, is it a porter? Is it a stout? Is it a black lager? Who knows? Like it's just fantastic.
And Janky, their flagship IPA,
killer.
Yep.
It's always been great.
Yep.
I'm trying to find it. Here we go. It's called Sunblind. It's a
Sunblind. Okay.
It says, oh, I can't read it from the side, but it says they're calling it a sour beer with sea salt, citrus, and spices. So that is what it is. So next time I go to Durand, I'm going to pick that up because I've wanted to try Yacht Rock. Honestly, was the greatest gozer I ever recall having. I used to drink a lot of Stone City. Every time we did the trip from Montreal to Toronto, I would always stop in Kingston, which we always did, to get A&W and gas and all that bullshit. And then I would zip up the street and go to Stone City, grab some stuff, and keep on cruising. And Yacht Rock, if I ever saw it, I would grab a bunch of them. So very happy that he brought that back. But they definitely deserve a honorable mention. If not to be in the top 10. Once again, it was pretty tight. And you'll see when we get into these like final three, not that these were the top three necessarily, but you know, you'll see it's tough, man. It's really tough. So we had to just shout out some of our faves.
Yep.
So this one is on me. The next brewery.
It's all you, bro.
This has got to be like top two in the province easily. It was a tough call coming up with the number one brewery, and we had to make sure we drank something from them. And this beer that I particularly have from them is the greatest beer I think they put out this year. I drank a lot of their stuff. They are wonderful human beings. They are arguably one of the most hyped breweries in the country. We are talking about the Lords at Third Moon.
There we are.
Let's go. So, you know, you guys already know, if you know Ontario Craft Beer, you know Third Moon. You know they're like God tier. The two beers we have there, so I had that one that I got for Nate recently, which yours is called Observation Peacherine. So Observation is a series that they're doing, and Peacherine is a new hop from, is it from Freestyle? I think it's from Freestyle, right?
It is from Freestyle, yes.
And that beer is fucking disgusting. And this beer was actually the one that I confused that with, so I got that one for you. And I forgot that this was the one I meant to get for you because that one was basically just as good. This one's called The Other Side of Nothing. And it's just... Nate mentioned it earlier. You talked about beers that, you know, like breweries that were improving their IPA bodies and stuff like that in lieu of, you know, double IPAs. And this is these two beers are the absolute epitome of that in Ontario.
Yeah, so I have not had this one yet. I'm going to be tasting this one for the first time just now. But The Other Side of Nothing that you're going to pour again, I had from our last trade about it like a couple of weeks ago, and what I said about that one is I think that it was the best texture of an IPA that I've ever tasted from Third Moon.
Easily.
No question. Like what they've done in the past year for like really dialing in the body of all of their beers, single
Next level.
IPAs and double IPAs alike. It's wild where they've come in the past year on that.
Absolutely incredible. Like, I lost my shit with this beer. And the one that you have as well. Like, I just couldn't believe how good they were getting with this stuff. And I really feel like that's sort of like that pushback to what we were saying before, like people being like broken fat and wanting to dial it back a bit. But if you want a big bodied IPA, and you want a double like this. I've been drinking a lot more doubles, to be honest. I used to really proactively avoid them. Today, all I bought was doubles. Aside from this, I got the new double Third Moon. I got the 2 double IPAs from Badlands, and a few other things, and it was all doubles. Oh my goodness! And I just really feel completely satiated by a beer like this. Do you want to sip first?
Yeah,
I can take a photo.
sure.
All right, get that in your mate. Cheers.
Yeah, let's do it. Cheers.
Oh, I don't know how they do it. How do you do it?
Oh man,
Bieber, what's the magic, Matt? What is going on? Oh, it's just impeccable, right?
oh yeah.
Peacherine is just such a crazy hop. It's so fire.
It is for sure.
It's just go on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like people are going nuts for it right now, and again for good reason, as far as I can say.
It's literally like peaches and cream in a can type shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it so funny having 2 content creators do a fucking podcast? Because we have to do 800,000 photos every time we pull out a fucking beer. But y'all get
That's
it,
right,
man. Guys, we're dedicated, all right? This is what we do. This is how, we live this life. We're content creators in this motherfucker. But yeah, man, I'm really, we already knew that, Third Moon, not only just glorious human beings, but, super passionate about everything that's going on. They've really, rode the wave, being that they are pandemic babies. They opened in May 2020, right when shit hit the fan. Same day as our good mates at Saint-Pierre Baron in Quebec, and it's been an interesting ride for them, I bet. And for them to continue to innovate, they captured the what's the word? There's a word I'm looking for that's escaping me, but they captured the community of craft beer. They defined hype beer in Ontario.
Oh yeah.
Sure. From when they
whatever hype was in Ontario before that, before them, they took it to a whole other level.
Absolutely. And it's just been crazy for them. I can only imagine what it's been like to sort of try and live up to that constantly and deliver all of these different styles.
There are certainly some positives and negatives to that, as I'm sure Bebo and Chris would attest to.
Oh, I bet. The amount of things that they've had to deal with. I've had multiple conversations with them both. I count them both as friends, and they're just such good fucking dudes, man. And they really, really, really care. One thing to share, I imagine it'd be okay to share it, but if one thing that's happened in beer, and I think Tiff and I actually spoke about this on the last pod, episode 115, where we talked about the future of craft beer, period, for 2023, was a lot of, everything in life has gone up. We might be going into a recession, who knows, because of the way that we kind of Canada offset a lot of the, the CERB bonuses and all the things to keep people kind of spending money throughout the pandemic. So we're kind of on this tail end when it should have been a recession, and sort of it's this interesting situation. And one thing that did go up, obviously, every single thing in society went up: gas, fucking food, literally gas, electricity, water, utilities and things like that. But one thing that did go up that didn't seem to get passed on to the consumer was ingredients for craft beer, including hops and malt. And I know a lot of these breweries, particularly Third Moon, and one of them, that they charge a premium because their products are premium. It just is what it is. So it's difficult for them because they're already charging a decent amount. Like their suppliers keep charging them more and more and more, and they're not necessarily passing all of that on to us, which means they're eating into their own margins, and them being able to sort of like absorb that while still continuing to innovate. And this body, you're drinking a 6.5% IPA, as am I, and the bodies are just, it's clouds, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like, it's like, and even from a year ago, and what they were brewing a year ago, was still fire. But this,
next level.
but this is next level here. Like they've now taken themselves into a whole different stratosphere. Like this takes it to the level of what you were saying before. Of we don't need to compare it to another half or a monkish. Like we've got our own top tier shit right here.
Right here. And it's affordable, and it's in our backyard, and it's supporting fellow Canadians doing their thing, working hard, making phenomenal things, and really like you said, what they were doing before was still A1 fire. It was almost like, how can you possibly get better? And then they come with beers like the two that we're drinking, and these are the two best beers of the year from Third Moon, in my humble opinion, easily, and without drinking a ton of their double IPAs, because I imagine there's probably less changes they could make with those. I feel like the real impact is from their pales, like Rise and things like that are 5%, and things like these are the 6.5 range. And it's just like, your beer has Pizzerine exclusively, I believe, and mine has Nelson and Moteca. I think I just double checked. Nelson and Moteca, yep. So like super New Zealandy. It's just, how the fuck is this even possible? This is just glorious. Like this is like, I understand. Like I haven't been to the States in a while. I got my Canadian passport, by the way. I'm ecstatic about that. Like my immigration journey is finally finished, and I'm ready to zip over the border soon. I've been talking to Tiff. I'm like, yo, can we just fucking go this weekend? Just go to Buffalo or something. And I want to see what's up. But I kind of just feel like I want to go, one, because I just want to go somewhere again, but also like I want to see for myself. Like, because Rochester has other half, and it's not too far from Buffalo. So I want to go there. I want to be like, is it better? Is it like, what's the deal compared to Third Moon and some one or two others here? Like, how much difference is there between these guys and the world-class things that everybody's been talking about for a while? And it's like, probably because of the lack of regular travel. Let's get in there, but because obviously a lot of air travel's been kind of fucked up with like baggage issues and blah blah blah. I don't know if it's really got back to where it was, but once it kind of does, I'd be curious to see what people think, particularly people in the States. Like, it's almost going to be a problem when they discover this. Like, I feel like when they discover how good this stuff is, it's just next level.
It really is. It's a great time in Ontario beer for sure.
Honestly, bro, like, and Third Moon deserves so much props for this. Like, they truly led the way, and I feel like they copped a lot of shit along the way because they were the ones who happened to be the what's that Facebook group? Canada Craft Beer Society.
Canadian Craft Beer Society.
So those guys like were the ones that kind of maybe were the more gateway folks that discovered Third Moon. And Third Moon happened to represent hype in the sort of the best beers in the province, and I feel like they got a little bit of shit from those guys, maybe about being too expensive or things like that.
That group is fucking savage.
It's kind of like, what's the one in Quebec called again? Capsule Bière, like a little bit savage too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's doing any favors, but they kind of like caught that crowd. Through no fault of their own, they just happened to be. And I don't know if that maybe discouraged them from putting the prices up, because these are people who aren't familiar with, you're going to go to, and like, to be really fair, like, as you know, like, we went and bought some beers from Quebec recently through Nowhere and stuff, and like, they were significantly more expensive than what you would get in Ontario, I would argue. and I think the market could probably sustain this higher rate, particularly if they're not really charging what they need to, for beers of this caliber. Like this is just genuinely, like, I don't recall ever having beers this good in. Once again, it's been a few years for me. I know you went to Maine and stuff, so you kind of had a little bit of a dabble more recently than I. I got a bunch of American beers, but nothing like fresh from the source, and I really need to go back to sort of like really see. But I'm just really proud of what the guys have been doing, man. I just think it's really cool. They're just really putting Canada on the map. They've been putting Ontario on the map, and it's just so cool to see what they're doing. And all of the props they get is absolutely well deserved and completely valid.
Absolutely,
it's spectacular, and not only that, they're fantastic human beings as well.
Yeah, much love to Bebo and Chris for sure.
Yeah, loving it.
And the whole and the whole team there really like
Jim, Melissa,
and yep, Melissa and and the guy who does their artwork for
Casey
Yard
Wolves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On that note, we've got one more honorable mention and two more breweries to get through, so we got to fucking roll here.
Let's do it. Should I do this last one?
Yeah, you do the honorable mention.
Okay, honorable mention. So, another great category from Uncle Nate, the best accessible beers and most beautiful brewery. We're staying in Prince Edward County. We're going for Slake Brewery. So I've been to Slake probably 2-3 times. Every time I go to PEC, I go to Matron and Slake, and now next time I go back, I will be going to all my friends. So that's 3 of our honorable mentions from Prince Edward County. Who would have thought, huh?
That's right. Prince Edward County fucking cleaning up the honorable mentions.
It's very, very cool. And Slake have these beautiful big windows. They're on top of I was going to say mountain. It's like a hill. Really, there's not really super hilly area, but there's a view, and going there on summer and sitting at their park benches with these chickens fucking walking around, and you're drinking a beautiful beer, and watching the sunset, which is what we did last September, not 2022 but 2021. Tiff, her mother, and I went out there. I very much have a really soft space in my heart for Prince Edward County. I love it out there. We almost moved there, to be honest, before Hamilton. Love it so much. And Slake is just glorious. They're mainly, for me, they're Crispies and they're haze. I mean, that's primarily, arguably, what they do anyway. The Crispies are just fantastic. I remember they did a great collab with Dominion out there as well, which was A1. Their haze, they've done a lot of great collabs with haze recently with Slake. They did Blood Brothers, and I think they did Fine Balance.
Yep.
Maybe something else. I think they did a third. Did they do a third? They did the third Moon Juice.
They did Moon Juice. Yep.
Yes, which was fantastic. I think I got that for you. Yes.
It was great.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
That was really, really good.
So like you mentioned their their Crispies in their like that is basically what they do, and their haze. We're talking and the reason I said most accessible, is because basically I don't aside from Moon Juice, and I don't remember the exact ABV on it, but I don't know if I've seen anything that they've done over 6% ABV.
That's what
it's all all of their haze is like really, really approachable pale ales. And their Crispies are super crushable, but it's 6. The kind of thing that is. Oh, okay. So Moon Juice was 6.5, but that may be the only beer I think I've seen them done that's been over 6%. So it's super, super approachable, but not compromising in body or flavor. A lot of for my taste, anyways, a lot of hazy pale ales can sometimes be overly bitter. They're high in carbonation, and they're and kind of heavy on acidic citrus, and that's a turn off for me. But that's not the case with anything out of Slake. Their stuff is always very, very soft, and approachable. It doesn't have that citric acidity that kind of turns me off. It's it's very pillowy. It's very fruit forward. It's kind of low to medium in body. It's all super, super, super good.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more. I always grab Slake whenever I see it, and they're just the perfect crushes. Every time I've left there, I've left with a case. No exaggeration, every time. And I
Yeah.
also love that they stock. There's this brand called it's like County Soda, and they make these like local sodas, which I really love. And they also stock City
City
Seltzer.
seltzer.
City Seltzer.
Yep.
So I always used to buy some City Seltzer, the local county stuff, which I found out they have it here in Hamilton as well, which I really love. And then I just get a bunch of stuff of their own things, and it's just like their Vienna lager called something like an autumn one. What's it called? Long sleeve or something is great.
Long sleeves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. Like, I just really love all their beers, man. Their branding is fire, super unique, and like I said, the
Yep.
actual
It's very unique, very recognizable. Like you can always tell their stuff.
yeah, and
And like and the inside of the brewery, like the walls, like the artwork on the walls look exactly like their can artwork.
yeah, super cool, man. It's just like a really cool experience, and there's like particularly in summer when it's so beautiful out there, and just to go there and just really soak it up. Particularly, we went there the first time I went there was for sunset, and it was glorious. We had such a great trip, and just to go there for that, and it was just very memorable, man. So like, I fuck with Slake very heavy. So, they keep going how they're going. Maybe they'll hit that top 10, 2023. We shall see.
We shall see.
Next one, sir.
Next one. All right. So this is
Almost
another. Yeah, we're almost there. This is another one that is a repeat from our 2021 top 10. This is going to Kingston, Ontario, Fine Balance Brewing.
We kept it pretty varied, eh? Like, I feel like all of these breweries are from all over the province. Like,
yeah, it's true.
There's
true.
literally
we did hit
two from Toronto. Two from Toronto, which you would think would maybe own the whole shit. But we got Ottawa, Ayr, fucking Caledon, Cambridge, Hamilton, Milton, Kingston. And now Kingston. I mean,
we're hitting all over the province. That's a pretty great showing.
But doesn't that say a lot about Ontario beer? Because if it would be all kept to the city, you think, oh, the city's only the one making the best stuff. But no, the whole province is showing out. Fine Balance,
yeah, man,
is a big passion for you and I. We love these guys.
Yeah, absolutely, we do. We absolutely love Fine Balance. This was the youngest brewery on the list last year. Because they were another pandemic baby. They came on the scene in fall of 2020. We talked to them right around their first anniversary when we had Andrew on the pod in 2021.
We're due for another one, eh?
Yeah. And just continuing to fucking love what they put out. They're another one that have really refined their stuff in a very short amount of time. Oats and Cream, which is their flagship IPA, is phenomenal. Fucking money. It is it's a very subtle lactose IPA with that's hopped with Citra and Nelson. So that's not a cheap IPA to make
as a flagship.
As a flagship. But if you've got Nelson in your flagship, you're not fucking around there.
Not one bit.
No, but it is fucking delightful, that beer. It's just a kiss of lactose. It's it's real subtle. To give it a really, really nice soft texture and just a touch of sweetness. And the Nelson, of course, really helps to balance that out. It dries it out nicely. It's a gorgeous beer. But as we were talking with Andrew on the pod, their brewer has some other half influence on him there from having spent a lot of time in New York. So there's a lot of influence there in his brewing style.
Yes,
and and that really shows a lot in especially in their haze, with kind of how with the style of their haze. It's really, really thick, murky haze.
Yes.
But it's nothing unhinged. Like we keep talking about it. This is the fucking theme of 2022 is refinement.
The word of the year.
Really, Yeah, it's the year of refinement, and really the name even Fine Balance is pretty apt on that front with their brewing
Very
style,
much
wouldn't
so.
you say?
I couldn't agree more, man. Like they absolutely embody that in like once again, like how dare you have an oat cream IPA with lactose as your flagship beer, and how dare it be that great and that refined and that restrained. Like it's
Yeah, man.
crazy. And not only that, like they really seem to lean into the stouts a little bit more. They did 2 collabs with Durand, funnily enough. I got
Yep,
one
they
of them.
did.
I missed the second one, unfortunately. They did like a 9% double. Did you get that one? You got
Yeah,
that one.
and yeah, like I missed the first one, but I did the second one. So
Okay,
between the two of us, we got
we got it
we
happening.
got it sorted.
So like
Um,
that was fantastic. They did that coffee stouts, obviously, because Durand is a cafe, which is phenomenal. Um, they got their sour, the gelato sour series, which is like a is it a lactose sour? I think it might be a lactose
yes,
sour.
it is.
It is.
It is.
Super, but once again, very refined, very restrained. It's not like a fucking lactose punch in the face because that time is over. They
No,
did
but
different.
and I gotta shout out too. Like their crispies, they fucking nail them. Like I can think of several off the top of my head. Like Testaccio, they're like their
Yes.
Italian pills, fucking money. Precipice, their New Zealand pills, spectacular. Um, and the collab that they did with Toronto Brewing, which I think
Oh,
was
it's
called
called
One for
num.
One.
Yeah. Yep. That was great.
Like that was excellent. Like their like their crispies are fucking spectacular. And I think when you went when you went there for your first visit, I think you had their check logger on their Luker, right?
When Andrew was like, we tried a bit of everything and like little tasters. He's like, here, try this, try this, try it. What do you want a full pour of? I'm like, the Luca. Wasn't even
Yeah,
a
you
question.
do.
And it was glorious. It was so good. Their black lager as well was phenomenal. I just bought one of everything. Andrew had to go. I was like, sweet man, I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm just gonna go, hey sir, can I get one of everything? And it was just they're just so good, man. And the tap room is beautiful, really modern and new. Um, I think they got the barrel program now, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're sort of dabbling in a bit of that. Um, Once again, a bunch of collabs. They did collabs with Slake. That Slake called Churn. That was great. Really enjoyed that one as well. That was on the
Yep.
fine balance side, and they're only around the corner because I was staying in Picton when I went down there in September or November last year, in 2021, and it was just fantastic, man. Like Andrew's such a good guy. They did Link Up Series 3 as well, which was one of the best beers of the series. They did just a straight up hazy pale ale. It was money, exactly what you would want from this type of thing. Their branding is great and consistent today, even at Durand. I went, go grab that. I went and grabbed their latest. They did a Crispy Boy collab. See this fucking camera. I gotta get this camera to start again. Come on, buddy. Come on. Don't make me use the thingo. There you go. Come on. Do me a favor. Hold me down. They did a collab with a restaurant called Pizza Monster, which is a local pizza spot. They did a nice little crispy boy, so I grabbed that today because that seems super fun. I just think they're a good fucking brewery, man. Great dudes. They have they did link up as part of, they do these like charity beers or programs every quarter, and
Like a quarterly series
quarterly series,
that they're doing now.
which is super dope. I just think that's just super cool. Man, I really want this camera to start up again because the webcam is whack. And I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get it started. Oh, hang on, it's making some clicky noises. Oh shit, there we are. We're in business.
Hey,
let's
there
go.
We are.
But yeah, man, they just
to bring it home.
I need it because I'm not gonna take the fucking what do you call it? Thumbnail with this stupid ass webcam on there. So yeah, man, I just feel like their branding is great. Their ethos is great. The actual brewery is a vibe, as you know, because you've been there. You were there first the summer before I was there. Andrew is a champion. I met a few of the cats on the team. They were lovely. just impressed across the board with everything with Fine Balance, and they've been a fave of us. They were our one to watch from 2021, and they still made the top 10 because we were so impressed. And I feel like that's not going to change. And to us, and correct me if I'm wrong, I always look at new breweries like, are you the next Fine Balance?
Yeah.
So like, to me, for 2023, who I consider who might be the next Fine Balance would be All My Friends for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the one to watch.
They're the ones to watch. And it's exciting, man. Like, it's exciting to see breweries like that. I still feel like Fine Balance are a little underrated. They're not at the level I think they should be at.
Agreed. I couldn't agree more.
I wonder why that keeps happening.
It's hard to say.
It's really hard to say. But yeah, I truly feel like they're super deserved. Do you know what? I really need a piss. Are you able to tap dance for 45 seconds while I do that? And maybe just...
Yeah, you go for it.
And gush about Fine Balance, and I'll be back very, very shortly. I wish I had a toilet right here.
No.
I was saying to Tiff today, it's all I need in this basement is just a toilet right here, and I'm fucking good. But I don't.
No, you go for it.
Okay, it won't be long.
Yeah, another thing that I can say about Fine Balance, if you've never been, if you're ever doing a haul between Toronto and Ottawa, Toronto and Montreal, if you're doing that rip down the 401, Fine Balance is literally 5 minutes off the highway. It's super, super easy to get to. And you like if you're doing, like, if that's your halfway point, maybe you're doing a stop and you need, and you want to grab a beer or something, or even if you just want to pick up stuff for wherever you're going, or if you're heading back home, you won't be disappointed. So I can't recommend them highly enough. Andrew was one of the best guests that we had on the pod back in 2021, and he's definitely earned the spot as a rising star over the past couple of years in the Ontario brewing scene. And I would defend to death Fine Balance being in the top 10 in Ontario. 2 years running. I expect that we'll probably be talking about them again when we do this in 2023. Like I was saying, big fan of their flagship Oats and Cream. They've done a couple of variations on that. They've done a few different hop varietals of it, including a couple double versions. I know there's one Moteca version. I feel like there was one with only Nelson Sauvin that's sticking out in my head. Yeah, like kind of a big, thick double IPA version. It's a case of they'll use lactose for it, but as I said before, just a kiss. It's not like the wild milkshake IPAs of 4 or 5 years ago. It's just a touch to enhance the body a little bit, add a touch of sweetness, but not go too wild with it.
How'd you go?
I was talking about the beauty of Oats and Cream and the double Oats and Cream, the variations that they've put out, and their delicate use of lactose.
Oh, it's genuinely spectacular, man. Like you said, name another flagship that has lactose and Nelson. It's I just think they really, I don't know, I just love them so much, man, and I want to keep supporting them, and I still truly believe that, there's Third Moon, there's Barncat, there's a couple others in that conversation, and they really should be there, and it's just a matter of, it has to be just a matter of time before they're up there, and if All My Friends keep going the way they are, it's going to be the same thing.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. Okay, is it is the moment finally here?
The moment is here. It's been a little bit delayed, because we were excited. We were talking about it. So this is the inaugural BAOS #1 brewery of the year in Ontario. If you follow Nathaniel and myself on anywhere really, you will know that this brewery is one that we are forever gushing over. We did a podcast with the owner slash brewer amongst, with Barncat and with Willowbold in March 2022. We both were quite familiar with their wares, what they produced, and personally, I didn't realize it was that good. They just outshined any and everything. The words of Bebo from Third Moon himself, this brewery makes the best haze in the world. This is none other than Badlands Brewery. I kind of pressed the applause before I got to say it. But yes, Badlands are just...
It's okay. The people got excited.
They got. That's what I want to. I want to amp it up a bit. What can I say? I mean, if Badlands aren't at the top of the list, I mean, to be fair, it's a relatively tough call between Third Moon and Badlands, but I feel like Badlands just inched over for us.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like you and I didn't even really need to discuss this. I feel like we knew that, that if we were going to name a top brewery in Ontario this year, this was going to be it.
There was no question about it. I mean, look, Troy is a legend. I think he's some sort of scientific genius. I think he's just a great human being. Really connected with him. You and I went there, which was so fun. It was the hottest fucking day. It was like 36 degrees.
Oh my god, yeah, it was so hot.
It was such a fun day. We went like the week after Labor Day, which was the week after their 5th anniversary. So they had all the anniversary releases. We drank some of those on tap. We had some fantastic food. We just hung out. We chatted with Troy and Mike. It was just like a really great day. I've been to Badlands now 3 times, I think. And it's just a great place. Literally, the episode we did with Troy was called "Get Off My Lawn."
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
Literally, the old part of the brewery where you would purchase the beer and this little black hut it's like 5 meters from his front door. Like, not exaggerating. And now the rest of it, you were sitting on the patio looking at his deck, of his house. Which is wild, and they a farm brewery like that in Caledon, around the corner from Sun Hill, around the corner. I imagine it's like 10 minutes away or something. Making beers of this caliber, it's just insane.
It's wild.
I don't even understand how he even does it. Like, I was trying to think. I have probably a really, really solid top 5 Badlands beers of the year. I basically got almost everything they had all year since we did the pod with them, because I'm here in Hamilton. Look at that! It's just God tier. What are you drinking, by the way? Which one are you drinking?
Oh my god, the nose on this. So I'm drinking Marma.
What's the hops in that one?
That is Citra and Amarillo.
Okay, I love it. I got Evolve or Die, which was their beer that they dropped on New Year's Eve. I got it a little earlier, but I wasn't allowed to post it to New Year, so I just waited till I got back. This is the hoppiest beer they've ever done. It has $1.70 per can of hops. It has Citra, Mosaic, and Galaxy. Double IPA 8.2. Nate's is 6.5 single IPA.
That's right, and that Evolve or Die is 20 pounds per barrel, if I remember right.
It's bonkers, bro. Like, it's just
that's insane.
It's insane. I don't know how he makes beer with that level of hops, but also it's crazy. And honestly, like, you inspired me to continue to do double IPAs, because I really was like proactively, I wouldn't say avoiding, but just kind of like not super interested in double IPAs, because I'm a bit of a, I like just lower ABV beers just so I can do more volume rather than otherwise. But I've, in the last, I don't know, month or two, for some reason I've kind of really tried to go out of my way to drink double IPAs, and today, I got Badlands drop 2 double
And
IPAs, which they
yeah,
do
man,
only
and I
once a
like,
month.
and I feel like if you're going to do double IPAs, Badlands are the ones to do it for.
Could not agree more.
They're like the way that Troy manages to dial in the body and the drinkability on these things is unmatched. And
Unmatched.
I don't say that and I really don't say that lightly.
No.
The way he manages to make an 8.2% double IPA drink as easily as his 6.5% single IPAs, it's insane. Like there's not a hint of boozy burn to his double IPAs ever.
No.
Even in Evolve or Die, which is the heaviest hopped double IPA that they've ever done. It's even the hoppiest version of Evolve or Die that they've ever done. And it's an aggressive IPA for sure, but you don't taste a hint of booze on that, do you?
Oh, I haven't sipped it yet because I'm waiting for you. But
Oh, that's because you're a polite gentleman. Here, let's
there we
get
go.
into it. Cheers.
Cheers, my brother.
Oh my god, the nose on this is insane.
It's a stupidity. I don't know what to say. Like, Badlands, I'm not gonna lie, it's changed my fucking life, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I told Troy I told him that he was gonna be. Did we announce it yet?
Did we announce what yet?
That this is the brewery of the year. We said that.
I think. Well, we maybe hinted at it, but if we didn't make it clear, Badlands is the Ontario top brewery of 2022. Number one.
And like, it's so deserved, man. Like, I was speaking to Troy last month about some other shit, and I told him, I was like, bro, you're the brewery of the year. He was like, whoa, really? I was like, man, like, it was almost like he was surprised. I was like, how the fuck are you surprised? Like, like, he's just such a great dude. I think he's just a wonderful human being, as is basically everybody on this list, because we have met them all in some shape or form. And Troy is like I said, like some sort of scientific genius. He has no business making beer this good in Canada. This is up there with anything I've ever had. I feel like between you and I, we've been to pretty much all of the main spots in the States that has the most fire beer. I would argue, because I know you've been to some places I haven't, I've been to some places that you haven't. But I don't know if I've had anything better than this. And once again, I haven't been recently, which is why I'm excited to go. And then it's almost like I want to bring like 2 4-packs of Badlands, so I can go to fucking somewhere and be like, all right, has another half or whatever, and then like, let me just have a Badlands and just see. Like, it's just that good, man. It's just that fucking good.
It's one of those things of you'll never regret traveling to any of these places. It doesn't matter if the beer is if the beer is slightly better, or if the beer is slightly better here. Traveling is always a fun experience, and trying beer, trying the local beers wherever you go, it's always worth it. Absolutely always worth it. I swear by it. But it's one of those things of the beer here at home has gotten so fucking good that I'm never ever feeling like
I'm missing out.
I wish I had some Burlington Beer Co. on me. And no shade to Burlington Beer, I fucking love Burlington Beer Company and in Vermont. But it's one of those cases of I do not feel like what is in my favorite U.S. destinations is better than what I can get at home now.
Which is a great feeling, eh? After all this time.
It really, really is.
It wasn't always like this. And I think in the last maybe
it wasn't.
2 years, maybe? Since we stopped traveling for the most part. Like, I know, once again, you've only been to like sort of one real trip, and I haven't really been anywhere outside of Canada yet. I was waiting for my passport, to be fair. Which I have now, so I'm ready to fucking go. But I just want to see. And I'm just like, but I don't feel like I'm because I've done trades. I've been drinking shit from the States. I just don't feel like I'm lacking, and I feel like we're in a really, really good place. In Ontario specifically, this is what this pod is about. So let's talk about Ontario, and I just feel like get on this level, man. Like this is the shit. This is where it's at. Like if my friends in Detroit are losing their minds over both Third Moon and Badlands, that's that. I feel like there's some really good beers that they have access to out there. Whether it's local or otherwise. And I know Foam and stuff distributes out there. Like he got me some foam from Michigan. So like he's getting this stuff and losing his shit. And these guys know a lot about beer. And I just feel like it just speaks volumes to where we're at. And I think Canadian craft beer, like I still think it's under the radar. I still think overall it's under the radar. But once people discover this shit, fucking tourism's about to go nuts, bro.
Yeah, man. It would be a case of if you've got someone who's wild about who's wild about other half, who's wild about Bissell Bros, who's wild about Monkish. If you knew people like that and they were coming to Canada, and if they were and if they were to say like, bro, what do I need to get my hands on? And you would say, man, you absolutely have to get your hands on Badlands. You need to get your hands on Third Moon. You need to get your hands on Fine Balance. You'd feel confident that they're gonna feel like, oh man, there is some good shit in Ontario.
Not just good shit, like the best shit. When my boys came from, my friend Dave he just left, but he worked for Brew Detroit when he came up, and he was running the podcast. I hooked him up with Bebo and Chris. They did a podcast. He's like, hey man, I'm coming up for like 2 days, 3 days, whatever it was. I'll do a podcast with you and Tiff, but like, hook me up with someone. I'm like, okay, well, there's Badlands and Third Moon. So he was like, cool, we want to go to Toronto. So they stayed in Toronto, went to Barvolo and shit, did the pod with Third Moon, went to the Third Moon Barvolo takeover, fortunately, and they hung out with Bebo and Chris, loved them to death. And then we did our pod at Badlands, and then Troy jumped on for half of it. And they both just lost their minds. And to me, that was really cool to blow an American's mind with this stuff, because they were the first friends that I had come over from the States since I was aware of how good these guys are, which I imagine's only been in the last 12 to 24 months tops. And I feel like even in the last, would you say it's fair to say in the last 12 months, it's a different level than the 12 months before that?
I would say so, yes.
So to me, I'm glad to hear that. So to me, I'm extremely proud. Like I said before, like if I'm going to trade, I'm like, I don't know if you can give me shit that's better than this. And what I've learned was the amount of money that I ended up trading for some of these American beers, and for what I would spend on this Evolve or Die, the most hopped beer that Badlands have ever done. I can't say that it was money well spent getting the outside beers in comparison.
Yeah.
And that's fucking crazy to me. And it happened twice. And I don't want to, I love Monkish. I've been there. I got extraordinarily lit there. And I had a Badlands and then a Monkish on 2 occasions. And the Badlands was better than the Monkish both times. And everyone was telling me that Monkish lasts, even if it was a bit older, it was like a month. It was 4 to 6 weeks old. And they were like, oh, even if that Monkish lasts forever, don't worry about it, you're good. So I'd love to compare like a fresh Monkish to something like this, but I just feel like we're onto something here. We need to be proud, man. Like, we're here in Ontario and we're making some of the best beer in the world.
Absolutely, we're not hurting here. Like this is world-class shit here.
We need to be grateful and we need to appreciate it, and you and I absolutely do. And if there's anything, I go to Durand every week at the very least on a Thursday to get the new Badlands and Third Moon releases, and I basically grab everything now. And the funny thing is that like this is really what I want to be drinking most of the time. Obviously, there's a lot of other things too, but like I'm going to always get this stuff, and this is the pinnacle of what a New England IPA should be. And it's very funny that we are not in New England. And these individuals make New England IPAs. Just, I'd love to try Treehouse and Trillium again recently and compare and see. I tried it a year or so ago. I did a trade with a mate, and we did a bunch of stuff, and it was phenomenal. This was early 2021, before I had rediscovered Badlands, before we did our pod. I'd really love to see what these guys are like on the world stage. But Bebo said it on our Chinwag, so people remember. Nate, myself, Chris from Hops and Bros, and Noah from Beerism used to do a live once every 2 weeks on Instagram, and we kind of chilled out on it now. Everyone kind of got a bit busy, and people got other shit to do than watch a live and stuff. And one of the things we talked about was where was I going with that? I guess I'm kind of lit.
Yeah,
Right now.
you were like Bebo had hopped on,
That's what it was.
and was it like we were talking about we were talking about Badlands at one point, or we were talking about the quality of haze in in Ontario at one point, and Bebo jumped in the comments and said Badlands are like no joke brewing some of the best haze in the world, like no exaggeration, no sarcasm, like literally just brewing some of the best haze in the world, and I and that's pretty fucking high praise coming from Bebo.
It truly is, because Bebo was brewing some of the best haze in the world, and he is originally from Chicago. His parents live in Michigan, and he goes back regularly, and him and Chris from Third Moon are both very prolific traders, beer traders. So they always got the fire shit from everywhere. That was just kind of what they did. That's how they got in the game. And Bebo said to us on that chinwag that like he's like, I get shit from everywhere all the time, and Badlands made the best haze in the world. And I was like, fuck. And I told Troy that, and he was like, I actually did it. I pulled that on him in person on the podcast with Brew Detroit. I don't know if they released that yet.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
And he was like, "Oh," I goes like, "Troy, I don't mean to put you on the spot. You don't have to say anything, but I kind of let him know." And he's a very humble guy, man. All of these brewers are. Not one of these brewers on this list is a dick, man. They're all fucking super, super humble, and I don't know if they really understand how great they are. But we are here to celebrate them, and that's what this episode is for. It's to celebrate Ontario craft beer. We happened to select Badlands as our brewery of the year. It was just you and I had almost all of their releases, and
it just made sense.
It made sense, man. Like they just over and above. And look, I want to give a special shout out to the Crispy Boys. When we were there, there was a bunch of Crispies that they had. They're the one I had even recently, the GSP, the German style Pilsner. They had the. Do you remember the name? There was another one with a acronym when we were there. It was like started with C.
It might have been CS pills, the Czech style pills.
That's the one. And one of their most underrated beers this year was their porter. Their porter was like they still have it at Durant. I actually think this week I'm going to go back and grab another one because they still had it, and they shouldn't still have it because it's fucking spectacular. They don't really do too many dark beers. They also did Inky, their
barrel-aged stout.
The barrel-aged stout, which I think they might still have some left. I might give Troy a shout because they didn't distribute that, so we have to actually go there and get it. So consider I might even fuck around and go up there and grab it. I'll let you know if I do. But
do let me know because you'll be grabbing one for me if you do.
I would never. If I go anywhere, I'm going to tell you about it. That's really how it goes. And likewise, because that's how we get down. Because we share beers here, we make sure we all get the fire. But yeah, man, I just feel like it's more than just the haze. Obviously, the haze is like world class, and we have to celebrate it. But I just want to give them a bit of a shout out for the other stuff that they're doing because I feel like they don't do a lot outside.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, they don't do a lot outside the haze. They did a handful of Crispy Boys in 2022. And then they did the porter, and then they did the Inky, and the Crispy Boys. I think I had all of them, and they were all really, really good. The porter.
There was also that. There was also one of the anniversary beers, the Off the Table Imperial Stout that they did
with Barn Cat.
That they did with the Barn Cat collab. That one was insane.
Phenomenal barrel-aged stout that was just crazy. And when I took the Detroit boys there, we got to try that from the tank. Which was really, really great. The beer of the year, by the way, I'd love to hear what your beer of the year. So my beer of the year was Select Citra from Badlands. So they did a series of beers called Select, where they took the hops that Badlands, Third Moon, and Blood Brothers all went to Yakima Valley for the hop rub. They went last year. They went 2021 and 2022. And the rubs that they did from 2021 made it into the Select Citra that we did in March. Select Citra was my beer of the year. They also did a Sabro and they did Mosaic, I believe, but I think the Citra was the superior one. The other beer was the Superflux collab called Super Select or some shit like that. Do you remember what it was called?
Super Select, yeah.
There you go. That was exceptional. The third beer was Default Settings, which was I think early December, late November, single IPA, 6.5%, disgusting beer, which I made sure that you got that one. And there was probably a couple more. I would say probably Evolve or Die and also Kiwi, which I tried to get for you, but they sold out at Durand beforehand. And even Troy said that was his. I'm really pissed I didn't get that. I should have just grabbed an extra for you, man. Like, I'm sorry. I fucked up.
Yeah, it's okay. You're a fucking asshole, and I'm
a bad friend.
Forgive you for it,
yep.
But yeah, friendship's over. Like, this is the last pod we're doing.
Next year,
I'm just kidding.
We're gonna make sure we get it all covered. Did you have any top beers from Badlands?
Yeah, so one that stood out to me, and it's kind of funny because when we were talking with Troy back in March, he was saying that like the crop of Galaxy that year was off. He was saying there was there was something off with the crop of Galaxy that year. It just wasn't as good as it had been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And then about a month after that, it was literally no more than a month. There was one that I'm not 100% sure I've got the name on this right. It might have been called Brain Prism, something like that.
Oh, I'm gonna check. I remember Prism.
I don't know if I have the name right. It's something like that. I think it had Prism in it.
Mind Prism. Very close.
Mind Prism. Okay, I was very close. But that was a heavily was that Galaxy only, or was it Galaxy with something else? Since you've got the Untapped pulled up there.
All Galaxy.
All Galaxy. Okay, perfect. So that was a beer of the year for me. I'm a big Galaxy head, and and that one was bananas. That was in really,
April.
Really good.
Oh fuck, good memory,
yeah.
Bro. You have such a great memory. I respect it so much. It's so cool because I have a fucking horrendous memory, and because we deal with a lot of the same shit, it's very good. It's very beneficial for me to have you to be like, hey, bro, that's what that was. I'm like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah. Okay. Yeah, this was a great beer, man. This is one of the doubles, too. It was like a double All Galaxy. Yeah. This was after the pod.
And that's, it was literally about a month after.
He sent that to us, I think.
Yeah, because he even said on the pod that that Galaxy was off at that time, and then a month later, Galaxy fucking ripper right there, and and that was a glorious beer. It was so fucking good.
It's so good.
But another one, Evolve or Die, absolutely has to be. And I texted you right after I had it. I said something incredibly inappropriate that I'm not going to repeat on the pod, about how I felt about that beer. But my God, that was fucking good. And that's another one that had Galaxy in it. It was Citra Galaxy, Mosaic, and what else?
Citra
Mosaic Galaxy.
Citra Mosaic Galaxy. I actually got, and I never do this. I got 2 cans of this. I got you one, but I told Chris at Durand, because basically I went to Collingwood for New Year's, and with a whole bunch of friends, and I was like, I'm gonna come in on the Thursday before I leave on the Friday, and he goes, look. I go, did you get the Badlands? He was like, yeah, I got them all. He goes, I can get them for you, but you can't post Evolve or Die until Sunday or to Saturday. Whatever it was New Year's Eve. I think Saturday. And I was like, okay, cool. And he was like, what do you need? I was like, well, my friend and myself. And he's like, cool, I'll put 2 aside. I was like, you know what? Make it 3. So I was like, I got an extra because Troy hyped it to me. And then I read the description. I was like, oh, like it's the $1.70 of hops and everything. It was like the most intense beer of all. I was like, I have to get two, and this is what
Yeah.
I'm just really now leaning into the double IPAs. Probably not great for the waistline, but I just feel like they have. It's something that I kind of like missed out on a bunch of the year of. I just didn't go all in on the double IPAs, and I'm not gonna do that this year. I'm gonna make sure like I said, I bought mostly double IPAs today, with the exception of that third moon for the pod now. And this is just
Yeah.
it's a crazy beer, man, and it just really shows the depth that Badlands are going. So I really could not encourage anybody more to go in, and if you can't easily get it at your favorite local independent bottle shop, which is key, request it. And they can figure it out. You know, shouts to Duran, shouts to Sidewalk in Kitchener. Mark is a great dude.
Shouts to OG Bottle Shop in Barrie. Shouts to the Dominion City Corner Store.
Yes, in Ottawa. I'm sure there's places in Kingston, in Toronto. I think 5th and 7th combined with
4th and 7.
4th and 7th.
Yeah.
Combined with a Society Clubhouse. So big love to Erica at Society Clubhouse. She is a legend. She helped us so much with Link Up, and I have a lot of love for her. And I love to see that you told me about those guys at 4th and 7. And they shut down their store and they bring it all into Society Clubhouse on College Street there, which is a great venue. Shouts to Shelby in there as well, who's working. They're doing some great stuff. They've really, really been big supporters of Link Up, and they're just wonderful humans. And if now this bottle shop is in there, then you're going to be able to just get like the most fire stuff. So ask them for Badlands, and Third Moon, and Barncat, and Godspeed, and Tooth and Nail, and everybody we mentioned today. They're just some of the best breweries in Ontario, in our humble opinion. I mean, who the fuck are we? We're just some dudes, but, you know, we pay attention to this stuff. This is what our taste tells us. I imagine a lot of people probably would feel the same way, you know, just...
Yep, I would think so, too. And if I can plug our own shit one more time, like if anyone is ever like really, really interested in hearing about hops, if you go back and like if you haven't heard it already, if you go back and listen to our interview with Troy, like I could listen to him talk about hops as if it was like ASMR, like relaxation stuff. It's like to listen to him talk about hops. Like I could listen to that to fall asleep at night, and I mean that in the best way. It's just like the most soothing conversation that you can possibly imagine. Hearing about beer is to hear Troy from Badlands talk about hops. So go back and listen to that if that's of any interest to you. And I feel like we need to do a hop deep dive with Troy. Like we need to get him back on again to do another hop deep dive or something.
That could be a lot of fun. I was about to say, I really feel like I'm looking at these names here. I feel like we could probably like make sure we do new pods with all of these individuals coming in this year, because there's some of them that are due. Fine Balance and I guess Badlands. Third Moon, we haven't done it since Noah and I did nearly a 5-hour podcast with him in 2021. Fairweather, never had him on. Son and Hill, we haven't had him on properly. You know, but there's a bunch of stuff we can do here, man. I just feel like we need to showcase the people that we are, you know, preaching the gospel of. I think it'd be really interesting to do something like that. Do a hop dive, deep dive with Troy, who's big, you know, big hop guy, and maybe there's some certain things we could do to make it a little bit interesting this year. Because I feel like you and I are gonna do a lot of pods together. We've already got a couple, like 2, 3, 4 lined up for the next, you know, January and February, and we're only just really getting started. So. I'm excited, man. I'm honored to be here in Ontario, and I just really feel like it's very exciting to be here, and it's a great fucking time to be a craft beer drinker here, as we said. So,
It surely is. And I'm excited for the year to come, and like for the good pods that we're gonna have, that we're gonna have coming up this year, and for the good beers we're gonna drink this year. Like couldn't ask for a better time in Ontario craft beer. I don't think.
Not at all, man. I'm amped, and the ones we got set up, I feel like are potentially going to be in the 2023 top 10 because some of these breweries are pretty fucking good, and we've been both dabbling with some of them, and they're all newer to the pods as well. So very excited. And with that, I feel like we went significantly over time, but we always do.
You know what? Okay. I'm not mad.
I don't think we were overselling anything though. I feel like we needed to say all the things that we said. I feel like this needed this time.
It really did. Really did. I don't feel like we embellished at all.
No, and like once you guys, if you haven't tried the breweries that we're talking about, once you do, you'd be like, okay, I see what they're saying. And on that note, do you want to get the old thumbnail, bro?
Yeah, let's fucking do it, man.
I wish I had a third hand sometimes, because then I'll be able to do a whole thing. But
well, between the two of us, we should be able to cover it, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should. Hang on, I'm gonna try and make this like less awkward. Hang on, it's this way, but I got a fucking whole thing in the way. Ah, shit. I let go. It's okay. I'm gonna get it. Yeah. Oh, you are a beast. Okay.
Yeah, I don't fuck around, man.
No, I've never said that about you. Ready? Boom. Look at that. That is glorious. Yeah, we gotcha. All right. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the 2022 top 10 breweries in Ontario, the best craft beers in Ontario, the best craft breweries, in fact, according to BAOS podcast. So Nathan and myself, we really hope you enjoyed it. This was a pleasure to do. We are going to make this an annual thing. Obviously, I want to continue doing this for the foreseeable future. I think this is a lot of fun.
Me too, man.
I just love celebrating, man. Like celebrating what's in our backyard, and obviously hanging out is fun. We're going to do that a lot this year, but celebrating and just showing love, because that's what we're here for, man. These breweries show us love, and I want to show them love that that made our mouths very happy this year. Hell yeah.
Yes, indeed.
You beautiful man, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me everywhere at NathanDoesBeer, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I've not blogged in a little while because I'm a new dad now. But all my old blogs you can find at NathanDoesBeer.com, and but more regularly and updated, you can find me here co-hosting BAOS podcasts.
Damn right, and we have a whole bunch coming up, and honestly, the more the merrier this year, man. I would love to host as many podcasts as possible with you this year. It's just it's so much fun, and I just feel like we have a great rapport. So I would love for you to host as many as possible that your schedule allows. Just saying that publicly.
Well, it's so much fun for me too, man. And we've already got a few lined up, and I'm excited to get even more lined up.
It's about to be a problem. Yeah. You're a legend, guys. Thank you so much for watching and just showing love all 2022. I'm excited for a big 2023 of, great breweries, great pods, great conversations, and great beers. If you enjoyed the episode, folks, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, and Nathan, hit the freaking, what's the code? Notification bell.
Big motherfucker.
I'm kind of lit, bro. It's been a lot. Follow us everywhere at BAOS Podcast. Check out the long form audio. Now, we just changed it recently. We're going to go back to going live for the pods at like 7 a.m. on Wednesdays. We used to go live when we did the quarantine editions at like in the evening. But then what we did before then was go live in the morning so that the podcast was ready to go when you went to work. And we stopped that shit. We're like, what the fuck? Why did we stop that shit? And I guess because it was quarantine. I only realized like a couple weeks ago, like what the fuck? So the last episode we dropped at 7 a.m. So we're going to keep doing that. Makes a little bit more sense. We'll be dropping every week. We have, like Nate said, a bunch of pods that him and I have already been booking. We're going to continue doing that. I'm excited for what's happening this year. I'm excited to be in beer. I'm ready to go. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.